brick right now. How we get here from the top floor to the ground. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here to the top floor from the ground to the penthouse. How we get here to the top floor from the ground. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here to the top floor from the ground to the penthouse. To the penthouse. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here from the top floor. How we get here to the top floor from the ground. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here to the top floor from the ground to the penthouse. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here to the top floor from the ground to the penthouse. Still smelling like a brick right now. Hit the like and double tap. Still smelling like a brick right now. If you haven't subscribed and joined the channel, become a member right now. How we get here to the top floor, to the penthouse. Perfect Timing Podcast, #1 podcast on YouTube. At home, if you're out there with me, sing it with me. How we get here to the top floor, to the penthouse. From the ground, still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here to the top floor from the ground. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here to the top floor from the ground. I was giving some advice the other day. Somebody new coming into the space, trying to get his channel off the ground. We call it the 40 view dungeon, man. I call it the 40 view dungeon. 40 views, 40 subscribers. I lived at 40 views for a long time, man. So I'm excited today on Mega Monday, man. I'm just singing, man, my song, man. People don't know. People think you woke up to thousands of subscribers. People think you woke up. No, I didn't wake up to this. I built this. I built this to the top floor from the ground. Still smelling like a brick right now. Double tap at the like button. #1 podcast on YouTube. No, man, this ain't easy, man. This is hard fought. This ain't easy. Every day we come in live. Mega Monday is a brand, man. Perfect Timing Podcast is the man. We in the Perfect Timing Podcast studios, looking good, feeling good on another Mega Monday. Happy birthday, Trump. Right now, everybody go hit the like button, go subscribe, go become a member, go hit the super chat. I got a fire poll right now. Trigonomics going on right now on YouTube. Trigger the chat, trigger the algorithm, double tap, hit the like button. Everybody hit the thumbs up. Welcome to Mega Monday. Another Mega Monday. So live, so excited. It's a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Donald Trump. Happy birthday to you. 80 years old, never taking no sleep. How many? We only been in office for like 15 months. We got 4-year term. Do you know what I like to break down? The fact that so much has been done. We're talking about an Iranian deal today on the table. We're talking about an Iranian deal on the table. We're talking about a birthday bash. We're talking about UFC. We're talking about the claw. The claw. Oh no, the claw on the White House lawn. The claw on the White. We're talking about $1 billion Dana White. We're talking about $60 million worth of stage, worth of lights, regalia, red, white, and blue. MAGA, America first. How could you not love it? But some people didn't love it. Some people wasn't happy. I'm happy. You see, I got my red, white, and blue on today. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. What do we do here every day, chat? What do we do here every day, chat? Trump news, Trump news, Trump news, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. That's what we do here every day. Trump news, fired up and ready to go. Did you vote in the chat? Vote in the chat right now. Hey, we got coming in so live. How about another one? Y'all want to hear another one? A weem away, a weem away, a weem away. Everybody at home. In the jungle, the the mighty jungle. Blacks are not apes. Oh, man, come on, man. Double tap it, the like button. Let's have a good time this morning. Everybody going wild. The UFC on the White House lawn was viral. We got people calling Michelle Obama a man. I want to know from you right now in the chat, is Michelle Obama a man? Is calling Michelle Obama a man racist? Tell me how you feel about it right now. I want to know from you right now in the chat, how do you feel about the UFC? How do you feel about the UFC partnering with United States, with the White House in Washington, D.C., celebrating Trump's 80th birthday? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about Trump? Happy birthday, 80th birthday, never taking a break. How do you feel about the Knicks? How do you feel about the Knicks? How do you feel about the Knicks? Oh, man, the Knicks win. First time since 1970. I mean, millennials, Gen Z, I don't know, 30 years old and younger, 40 years old. It's been 50 years since they won the championship. I mean, everybody celebrating. I see people in Hollywood with Knicks jerseys on. It's New York. It's L.A. We don't wear Knicks in the L.A. But where everybody on the West, it's Knicks mania. Knickerbockers. It's the New York Knickerbockers. And they win the championship. And they beat Wimbiana. Wimby. Hey, was the Spurs fouling? I mean, the Spurs. Did you see Bronson? Bronson then took about how many elbow knockdown. Hey, celebrate the Knicks, man. Hey, congratulations to the Knicks, man. What we're talking about today is American excellence. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How we get here from the top floor, from the ground. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. How I got here to the top floor, from the ground to the penthouse. Still smelling like a brick right now. Still smelling like a brick right now. Double tap the like button, like, share, and subscribe. I am perfect. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast. #1 podcast on YouTube. #1 podcast on YouTube for domestic political debate and geopolitical debate. We talk about domestic politics, things like the Delaney Center, things like the Newark ICE protests. We broke down the entire falsification from the Democrats about Didn't you see Hakeem Jeffries with a Knick jersey on? By the way, Hakeem Jeffries, Delaney Center still open. We still in Newark. We still arresting people in Newark, New Jersey, who came here not through the proper process and who break the law. We're still detaining people. Yes, people are wondering about what happens to the children. We are the world. We are the children. Somalians came here and stole 19 billion. 19 billion. They built leering centers, but the children didn't lear shit. Then Ilhan Omar stole 30 million. People want to know what happened to the children. Well, if you came into the country and you didn't come into the country with the proper processes, and then you commit a crime and you happen to have a child, people want to know what happened to the children. The children also are being held, and the children also got to get deported back. And this is what I said last week in my chat. There was some purple-haired liberal crying in my chat. What happened to the children? What about the children? If you lock up a criminal, if I lock up a criminal and there's no one else to take the child because the criminal committed a crime, right? Check this out. If we lock up somebody for committing a crime, maybe he did something like steal a car. Maybe he did. I'm not talking about the first crime. Let's get this straight. Shout out to Tom Holmes, shout out to Barack Obama. Because Barack Obama, the king of Wakanda, your black mama, Barack Obama was the first one who said, when they came into the country, not the proper way, that was a crime. Remember, Trump didn't say that. Barack Obama is making the rules, right? We love Barack Obama. I am so in love with you. You love Barack Obama, right? So Barack Obama said the first breaking of the law is when they came into the country without the proper process. That's not why they're in Delaney Center. That's not why they're in Delaney Center. They're not in Delaney for that crime. They're in Delaney for multiple crimes. So that's the first crime. That is the basis of this discussion, that they're not in Delaney Center because there's an amusement park. No, they committed the first crime that Barack Obama defined. So let's just get that as the baseline. Then they committed subsequent crimes, subsequent felonies on top of the misdemeanor, because a liberal Democrat would love to tell you, oh, coming into the country not the proper way is only a misdemeanor. I didn't say it wasn't. I'm not arguing whether or not it's a misdemeanor, a class A, class B. I'm saying it's a crime. Barack Obama said they committed a crime. His mama called him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. His mama called him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. Barack Obama said it was a crime. Barack Obama didn't delineate whether or not it was a misdemeanor or a felony. Bottom line, it's a crime. But that's not why they're in Delaney Center. They're in Delaney Center in Newark because they committed subsequent felonies. Some of them multiple felonies at the same damn time. At the same damn time. Yeah, multiple felonies at the same. That's usually how it happens. In the commission of a robbery, you have an illegal gun. That is multiple felonies. In the commission of an assault, you have an illegal weapon. That is multiple felonies. So they're not in Delaney, Newark detention facility because it's an amusement park. They're there for committing multiple felony offenses. So people are asking today, what happens to the children? What happens to the children? You mean like the $19 billion Somalian fraud? You mean like the fake children, that the fake meals that the Somalians was feeding? You mean the fake children? What children? But let's break down the logistics because people are concerned what happens to criminals, children of criminals, and people who are non-citizens. Keep in mind, we are talking about criminals and non-citizens. People want to know what happened to the children. Can we get a baseline for the discussion? The baseline is, and this is the thing about the Democrats and the appropriate protesters that get me so fired up. When you see that bald-haired, I don't know what she is, on Capitol Hill, I know she's being prosecuted for potentially stealing $1 million. But when you see her on Capitol Hill talking about the children who are not American citizens, my question is this, and she's framing it as if Trump is racist and it's Trump's fault that the children are here. Trump has to clean up an issue created by Democratic liberals like you, bald head Ayanna Pressley. See, Biden opened the border without any logistics. I'm a project manager by trade. I know my logistics. See, we did mass immigration with Ellis Island. We had a facility. We processed people. We wrote down names. If you had children, there was doctors, there was police, there was a processing, there was a process. Biden and Kamala opened the border without a process, without a facility. If anyone needs to be discussed and blamed about what happens to the children, you need to go look at Biden or your border czar, because Biden said, come here. He said, open the border without anywhere for them to sleep, without anywhere for pregnant women to give birth, without anywhere from single parent women to have a place to safely rear children. Biden just opened the border. So women came here, and then children without parents came here. You understand what I'm saying? And because there was no processing facility, children got lost. Children got misplaced. We are hearing reports in the Delaney facility that there is certain people who came across the border who captured children and lied about those children being their actual children. How many people heard about these multiple stories and reports that because Biden had no processing facilities, families got separated, some people took possession of children that weren't theirs and started doing illicit crimes with those children. That's why they're in the Delaney Center. So the question is, what happens to those children? What do you mean what happens to those children? We should be asking Biden, why would you open up the country, the richest country in the world, without a process, without a processing facility or some type of project management for the children? When you open the border, that is when you mitigate this problem, not when it's time to clean up. And then let's talk about the numbers. We're talking about 10 million by modest estimate, 20 million by conservative estimates. Everybody watching, double tap hit the like button. Get the likes up right now. Double tap hit the like button right now. Everybody watching, double tap, get the like button. Like, share, subscribe. We're discussing all type of politics, domestic politics, geopolitics, whatever you want to discuss, put it in the super chat. We're starting off with the Delaney Center, and then we're talking about the Trump birthday bash. Did you wish Trump happy birthday? How old is Trump? Put his age in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're saying happy birthday, Trump. The Iran deal. We're talking about the Iran deal, details of the Iran deal. UFC on the White House goes viral. The UFC goes viral on the White House for a viral comment about Michelle Obama. I want to know from you, put a vote in the chat, how you feel about Michelle Obama, how you feel about the comment that was said at the White House, how do you feel about Trump's reaction to the comment? Is it worthy of discussion? Is it just something else by the Democrats to distract you from what is going on geopolitically and domestically? Now, the Democrats would love you. This is how TDS works. This is how the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries and The View works. This is how Rachel Maddow works. They say, look over here. Don't pay attention to the kitchen table. Don't pay attention to your wallet. Don't pay attention to your bank account. So why they want you to focus on racial divide and racism, what's actually going on? Well, Trump is making a deal in Iran and gas. I just bought gas. I just filled up my wife's SUV. How many people filled up your wife's SUV for Monday morning? Summer school, kids are out of school. I filled it up. The kids are doing things with my wife, and gas is cheaper. and I'm doing my research for today's podcast, and gas is going down. There is a deal on the table right now. There are text messages that say the deal is basically finalized. Trump is in the G7 right now. What is going on right now? I mean, you can focus on the racial divide. America has a lot of distractions. On your social media feed, there's a lot to be distracted by today. But what I do here is I focus on facts. So you can focus on Michelle Obama, who's no longer the first lady. You can focus on black and white and racism. You can focus on wrestling. But what the actual thing that's going on that affects your life geopolitically is the G7. There's a G7 going on right now where the nations are meeting because there's a peace deal on the table. You had the UAE leave OPEC. Now, you have oil prices going down right now. People who gassed up right now, tell me your state in the chat. Put your state, put how much you pay for gas right now. So while they want you to focus on racism, while they want you to focus on partisan politics, Trump is making the geopolitical deal of his lifetime, bringing down gas prices and weakening the Iranian terrorist group. What is in the deal? We're going to get into the deal this morning. What is in the deal of now? Number one, the deal hasn't been signed yet. A lot of people talking about the deal. The deal hasn't been signed yet. The deal is going to be signed in Vienna. Is what I'm understanding. Trump is at the G7 right now. Let's get some details. I got some details for you on this key details of the Iran framework. Let's get into some key details. Now, a lot of people do podcasts. We get a little wonky on my podcast. I like to do the wonk. I like to do the research. I create tables for people. I like to get into detail so people understand what's actually going on, because that's why people come here, for geopolitics and for domestic politics. So this is some of that wonk I was talking about. Let's get into the details. So key details of the Iran framework. Detailed type of status, framework memorandum of understanding, an MOU, not finally ratified treaty, text agree, formal signal expected, formal signing expected June 19th, 2026 in Geneva. My bad, I said Vienna. I believe G7 may be a Vienna. I'll get those details. So the framework is not actually signed now. Trump had his birthday party last night. Trump is in the G7 this morning, and we talking about signing a deal with Iran June 19th or 20th in Geneva, Switzerland. Some of the details and provision in the deal: reopen the Straits of Hormuz, toll-free, U.S. lifts naval blockade on Iranian ports, immediate end to active military operations, including Lebanon. I got reports. So one of the things I'm proud of on my channel, that as this is playing out, one of the things I'm proud of on my channel, that I believe one of the things that helped me grow, is I debunked the conspiracy that somehow Israel was the motivating factor behind the U.S. invading Iran. And I've held steadfast to that. I've compared it to the same conspiracy that somehow Trump was in cahoots with Putin, and that turned out to be a Russia hoax. We know all about the Steele dossier. Comey is under indictment, and I pray and hope. I'm so excited. Comey's indicted. I pray and hope that under questioning that Comey is asked about his efforts in the Steele dossier and the Russia hoax. But what I've said is that the Israel and U.S. somehow being complicit with Israel is also a hoax being put forth by Democrats. I mean, it's obvious when you hear Ro Khanna speak. The way Ro Khanna and some of the Democrats who speak about the hoax speak about it, it seems falsified and propaganda, right? So I got reports today that, number one, I've talked about NATO and why NATO is going the way it's going. But one of the things to know is that Israel is not at the table with the peace agreement. NATO is not at the table with the peace agreement. This thing is echoing across geopolitics if you're paying attention. You know what else is wrong? Know what else that people don't understand? Who's not at the table with the Russia agreement? Who's not at the table with the Gaza agreement? So NATO is not at the table. America is first. America is first. That's what this channel is about. America is first. So people want to put forth propaganda. But what's going on right now is Trump told Bibi, sit down. What do the young people say? Have several seats. Trump told Bibi, he used the F word, he used profanity. I have video. We're going to go into it deeper. But this hoax that Bibi and Trump were somehow in bed, this hoax that Israel was behind us going into Iran, this hoax that Trump, I played last week, always had designs on Iran and always had designs on Karg Island. Every U.S. president wanted to go into Iran. Every U.S. president had war games on Iran. And today, as we talk about this peace agreement, one of the things that people are surprised about is that Israel is not at the table, and Israel is not on board with the peace agreement, and Israel has refused to give up land that they have garnered in this conflict, similar to Russia and the Donbass in Ukraine. The world has changed. The maps have changed. OPEC has changed. Oil has changed. Energy has changed. Power has been redistributed. The world is changing. But hey, if you want to talk about Michelle Obama, I got a poll. If you want to focus on Michelle Obama, you can focus on Michelle Obama. Go vote right now. Double tap at the like button. Like, share, subscribe. So immediate provisions in this Iran deal that hasn't been signed yet. It's supposed to be signed June 19th. Some of the provisions, just a few of the provisions, is a 60-day ceasefire, future negotiations on Iran's nuclear program, enrichments, limits, inspections, phase sanctions, relief tied to compliance, no full details on frozen assets released as of yet, mediator. Pakistan is playing a key role, and other involved parties include Qatar, Turkey, and Oman. What's the note about this is that same thing I discussed when I discussed the peace plan in Gaza. And you notice the peace plan in Gaza has held. The peace plan in Gaza was signed in Egypt. The individuals who I just stated who are being integral into the peace process are the same people who designed the peace deal in Gaza that got all of the hostages back. Now remember, Gaza proliferated under Biden. Russia proliferated under Biden, right? These are the facts that are on the ground. But the same people who were integral in the peace agreement in Gaza are the same individuals who are integral in the peace agreement that we're discussing this morning with Iran. And once again, I reiterate, Israel is not at the table. Israel is not at the table. So when you hear about the details of what's going on geopolitically, and then you see the effects on your pocketbook. You see the effects on, last week, last weweek I was in a debate and I said pocketbook, and the whole crowd just started laughing because they said, man, how old is you? I was like, that's messed up. He said pocketbook. He said, my grandma used to say pocketbook, and like the whole crowd erupted because I said pocketbook. And I gotta stop saying pocketbook because it's telling people how old I am. Okay, that's just a little sidebar. But I'm talking about the gas prices and how gas is going down based on the announcement of this brand new Trump deal. And I don't mean slightly. I don't mean slightly. Trump and MAGA, it's Mega MAGA Monday. Hit the like button. It's Mega MAGA Monday. Trump always talked about barrels at $50 to $70 per barrel. I've been reading reports. How many people bought SpaceX? Put it in the chat if you got rich off of SpaceX. Elon Musk is a trillionaire. I've been reading reports that there's a possibility that we can get to $50 to $70 a barrel. Now, how it is that we get to $50 to $70 a barrel is you got to talk about OPEC. Those who've been watching this entire thing, a lot of people just been watching MSNBC and Rachel Maddow, but you got to talk about OPEC, the UAE leaving OPEC, and you got to talk about Venezuela. You got to talk about Venezuelan crude, and you got to talk about why the price was high and how OPEC set the price during the blockade. The reason why the price went up is because of OPEC, and OPEC is an illegal oil price fixing cartel. A lot of people don't know about Sunni versus Shia. A lot of people don't know about the IRGC is still being marked as a terrorist group, even though we're making this deal. oil. A lot of people don't know about the oil prices, why they go up and why they go down. A lot of people don't understand why we went to Venezuela first. I think it's on purpose. I think they purposely don't tell you about how Venezuela factors into geopolitics, how Venezuela factored into Cuba, how Venezuela affected Iran's pocketbook, ha ha ha, how when we went to Venezuela, it affected Iran, China, and Russia's pocketbook. So a lot of people leave that out because they want to say Trump didn't know what he was doing, or they want to put forth a hoax that Israel had something to do with us going to Iran. But if you understand Venezuela, then you cannot get Israel in the understanding, because if you understand Venezuela and how Venezuela rippled us into Iran, then that's how you understand why today Israel is not part of the peace agreement. And Israel's not on board, but Israel has never been on board. But what you should understand is it's never been about Israel. It's never been about Israel. It's been about American power and American money and precious resources, and what happened to the petrodollar, how the dollar became a commodity, how America, during the Straits of Hormuz being closed, how everyone was forced to buy and purchase oil, and what this will do for the second half. Now, think about this. This is what I said. Why would Trump go to Iran before the 2026 election? And why would Trump get the deal? Trump goes to Iran before the midterms because it sets up J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio to campaign on his victory for 2 years, not just the victory in Iran. See, you can't go invade Iran after the midterms because it may take too long and the Iranians may play pool. So Trump invaded Iran. This has nothing to do with Israel. I'm explaining to you the fact. Why invade Venezuela so soon into your second term? Remember, he did all of this before the midterms. This means, do you guys understand what the midterms is? The midterms, Trump is in the second term of a 4-year term. The midterms mark 2 years. He did all of these invasions. He did all of this before he hit the 2-year mark. Now, intelligent people who understand that this is all the time, what do we put in the chat? Trump 2026, Trump 2028. Why would Trump do all these invasions before the midterm? Because it sets him up to campaign on his victories all of 2027, all of 2028. I don't know why you haven't thought about that. This is why the Democrats are panicking, because the Democrats have nothing. What is true about the Democrats? Okay, let's go with Trump. What's true about Trump? The tariffs worked, right? Before we invaded Iran, we had record-breaking stock. Was it 50,000? Right? Never seen that high before. The best economy ever before we invaded Iran. So the tariffs worked. This is what Trump will have to run on. Venezuela worked, Cuba worked, Iran worked. What do the Democrats have to run on? Well, the Obamacare subsidies expired. The Democrats shut down airports for almost 6 months and caused multiple crashes and multiple unalivings of Americans. The Democrats also gave CDLs to people who were not citizens, refused to take back the CDLs, also causing the unaliving of multiple Americans. The Democrats gave out $19 billion to not people who were not citizens in Minnesota. So the Democrats, if Kamala Harris runs, she will have to answer for her former vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz. And I promise you, if Kamala Harris runs, I will be heckling in the audience. This is me. If Kamala Harris runs. Kamala, did you know? Hey, Kamala, did you know? Put it in the chat right now. If Kamala Harris runs the whole time, this is all I'm going to put in Twitter every time she speaks. Kamala, did you know? Kamala, did you know? That's all I want to know from Kamala. I don't want you to run for president. I don't want you to run for shit. All I want to know is, did you know that Tim Walz was allowing Somalians who were not citizens to steal $19 billion from children and sick people during COVID? That's all I want to know from Kamala. Every debate, every interview, Kamala, what did you know and when did you know it? I want the best interview ever if she decides to run for president. And I want the hard questions. Kamala, what did you know and when did you know it? Because we are learning now that Tim Walz and what's that damn this district attorney? What's that district? Put that dirty motherfucking Tim Walz had known for years about the fraud. I told you about the court case that actually investigated the fraud, and Tim Walz told them to continue to pay because he didn't want to see him as racist. But that's not true. Why was Tim Walz and the Democrats continue to pay? Because I argue, my opinion, allegedly, what I always put forth, and my chat agree with me, that the Democrats was trying to recycle COVID money. Biden and Tim Walz was trying to recycle COVID money and funnel it back into the DNC by giving it to these groups who would then give it back to the Democrats. And that's what they did on paper. So Trump solves Iran. And now, what did Trump say last week? Trump said J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio 2028 is an unbeatable ticket. What did he mean by that? J.D. Vance and Mark Rubio 2028 is an unbeatable ticket. Why? Because Marco Rubio was the one on the phone with Maduro in Venezuela. Marco Rubio is in negotiations with Cuba. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio is unbeatable for 2028. Who does the Democrats have? But it's not just the fact that they're likable. It's not just, but it's the fact of everything that we're talking about today that the Republicans will have to run on for 2 years. When we get this deal with Iran, do you know what that means? Do you know what that means for this administration? When we get, that means he won in Venezuela, he won in Cuba, he won in Iran, and Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance will sail into the White House in 2028. So distract about Michelle Obama all you want. You can talk about Michelle Obama all you want. We're not going to focus on Michelle Obama because the truth is I pay less for gas. I pay less for gas, and in my research today, there are $50 to $70 barrels of gas on the horizon. Now, why is that possible? Because of the Venezuelan crude, because of what we have done in Venezuela and the influence America now has over Venezuelan crude. So Venezuela benefited from the blockade. See, Venezuela's crude is dirty and heavy, right? They have dirty crude. They need barrels above $90 because it's more expensive to process the Venezuelan crude. If you have cheaper barrels, it hurts the regime in Venezuela. Can I keep going? Can I keep going? Now, when you have the UAE who needed a swap line from the U.S., hello, how many people know about the UAE needing a swap line from the U.S. and leaving OPEC, the criminal oil price fixing cartel? Now, the UAE leaving OPEC also puts more barrels on the market, millions of barrels on the market, because the UAE is leaving OPEC because it wants to produce more oil, again, making prices go down. This is happening now. If you go buy gas now, if you're not crying about Michelle Obama, I'm not sleeping with Michelle Obama. I don't know what Michelle Obama is, and I thought we lived in a society where you can sleep with who you want to sleep with. So I'm not worried about Michelle Obama because I'm not sleeping with Michelle Obama. What I am worried about is my gas. What I am worried about is the Iran conflict and what it does for the geopolitics and the Republicans in 2026 and 2028. That is what I'm concerned about, because I know we can't give the Democrats an inch. I know we can't give the Democrats an inch. Can I get that in the chat? We can't give the Democrats an inch. So I'm hyper-focused on this deal. I'm hyper-focused on 2026 and 2028, and I'm going to continue touting every Mega Monday on the Perfect Timing podcast the successes of this administration and how it will benefit the Republicans in 2028, and not only 2028, but in 2026. And if you look at California as a signifier, if you look at what happened in LA, if you look at how they stole that election, if you look at the Republican leaning California Democrats, that should be a sign. Trump won every swing state. He didn't win California, and Republicans don't have to win California, but it says a lot, ladies and gentlemen. See, the Democrats don't want you to focus on the numbers. Trump didn't win California, and Republicans don't have to win California, but it says a lot that California almost went red. It says a lot for 2026, and it says a lot for 2028. And not only that, but the upcoming elections. If the country continues to turn red, then you can no longer want, and I don't hear it anymore, about the Supreme Court being racist. Remember, the Supreme Court said you can no longer redistrict on color. And then they said that's taking away votes because they assume blacks always vote Democrat. So what about California? For everybody who was upset at the Supreme Court, what about California as it turns red with with primarily majority Democratic seats? So it has nothing to do with race. And that's why the Supreme Court said you can no longer redistrict on race. California turning red, that means California is majority Hispanic, Latino. If you live in California, you got to speak Spanish. So it says a lot about DNC and Democrats' politics. Now think about Trump came to LA. Trump brought ICE to LA, and yet and still LA almost went red, and California potentially may elect a Republican governor. That says a lot, ladies and gentlemen. After Trump, after ICE, you still have California almost voting for a Republican. That says a lot for the rest of the country. It says to me that it's a potential that Rubio and Vance could win every swing state again. Like I said, they don't have to win California. But if Latinos and blacks in California are voting Republican without redistricting, that says a lot for the rest of the country. And it says a lot to Jasmine Crockett. It says a lot to people who say that the Supreme Court got it wrong. If the Supreme Court got it wrong, why is California going red? I think California and Democrats get it wrong when they over give seats to Democrats and they don't give voice to the other side. In America, we're not about one voice. In California, a lot of times it's one voice. And you see the people of California rebelling. And what the Democrats need to be worried about is that same rebellion nationwide. That same rebellion nationwide where people not only vote Republican, but they vote against this one party, this one voice ideology. And that's the part that's really dangerous for the Democrats. It's not that people vote for the Republicans, but people start to vote against the Democrats. And that's what you see. It's not, I'm already voting red, right? But what you are seeing in the red wave in 2026 and 2028 is people voting against the Democrats. And give you an example, look at LA. Look at LA. Look at what's happening to Karen Bass. What's happening to Democrats in LA is that Americans are sick and tired of the Democrats and their corruption. So they're voting against the Democrats. Spencer Pratt is a Republican, but not running as a Republican. So why is the Democrats getting beat up in LA? Because even Democrats are fed up with Democrats. And you see it in California, you see it in Los Angeles, and I tell you, it will ripple across the country. And I'm excited. Today is Mega Maga Monday on the Perfect Timing Podcast. I don't know if you knew that. You may be new here. Today is Mega Maga Monday on the Perfect Timing Podcast. And we are talking about a litany of things right now. We're talking about the Trump deal with Iran. We're talking about geopolitics when we talk about Newark and the facility of Delaney. I have reactions from Israel. I have reactions from NATO on the deal. But before we go to reactions, Barack Obama was saying that the deal, he feels that the deal won't be different than the deal that he got, and that somehow that we should have kept that deal. But keep in mind, when Barack Obama said this, I was shouting from my chair, hey, Barack Obama, Biden didn't keep the deal. Trump and Barack Obama was clear to say that the U.S. left the deal, but he didn't say Trump left the deal because that would not be true. Joe Biden is the reason we're not in Barack Obama's Iranian deal. How many people actually know these facts? It's sick. It's sick the way the Democrats speak in the propaganda. Last week was such a fire, but today is Maga Monday. I've been coming with so much fire content. This is what I said. This is what I'll say to Barack Obama. And to those individuals who don't know why we're not in the JPCOA. What I said last week is Biden kept integral parts of the Trump administration. What are you talking about, Perfect? Not just the JPCOA, the weak and feckless fake Iran deal that did nothing to stop the proxies. It did nothing to stop Iran from making money, and supplying the proxies. No, not just that, but Biden kept the Trump era tax cuts. How many people knew that? Biden kept the Trump era tax cuts. How do we get so quick to the big, beautiful bill? This is another thing that Marco Rubio and Vance will be able to run on in 2028. How do we get the big, beautiful bill passed so quickly? The crux of the big, beautiful bill are these tax cuts that Trump created in his first term. See, a lot of people talk about this politics. They don't really understand this shit. I promise you they don't. Trump created these tax cuts in his first term. Joe Biden kept them going throughout the whole 4 years. And then when Trump was reelected, he made them permanent. You know what did not happen? Joe Biden did not make Obamacare permanent, but he did keep those Trump tax cuts rolling. I'm going to say it again. Biden did not make Obamacare permanent, but he kept those Trump tax cuts rolling. And that's why the big, beautiful bill was passed so quickly. How many of you knew that? Okay, that's one. I haven't even got to the JPCOA yet, right? I haven't even got to Iran. Let's go to Venezuela. So first, the Trump tax cuts in the big, beautiful bill. You can thank Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. Big, beautiful bill, Trump tax cuts. You can thank Joe Biden, Barack Obama, in case you didn't know. And now let's go to Venezuela. Let's go to Venezuela. Donald Trump put sanctions on Venezuela in his first term. Donald Trump put a $5 million bounty on Maduro's head during his first term. Guess what Biden did in his term? Biden doubled down on Trump sanctions and put $10 million on Maduro's head. Yes, he doubled the bounty. Again, in the major geopolitical things that you don't really know about that I discussed, Biden kept the line with Trump. I know you think you hate Trump. I know you think you hate Trump politics. You have no idea what the fuck is going on. You really have no idea, because when the Democrats talk to you about propaganda, they leave out these small details. Holy shit. Biden was consistent with Trump on Venezuela? Yes. Holy shit. Biden was consistent with Trump on the tax cuts and big, beautiful bill? Yes. Now, to the JPCOA, the Iran deal that Barack Obama created, and then Biden failed, what was it, 2021? Biden failed in 2021 to renew the deal. He sent Europe to negotiate with Iran, and Biden was so asleep that the Iranians elected a hardliner and refused to do a deal with Biden. So Barack Obama created the JPCOA. Trump said when he got elected, he took us out of the Paris Climate Accords, and he said, fuck Iran. And he said the JPCOA is weak because it doesn't sanction Iran, and Trump put sanctions on Iran. How many people know this about geopolitics? I mean, come on, you guys. Trump put sanctions on Iran and stopped Iran from making money, which is why there were no attacks on Israel during Trump's presidency. That's why Trump could brag that this never would have happened if I were president, because Trump put sanctions on Iran and he killed the JPCOA, Obama's feckless deal. When Biden was elected, what did Biden do in Iran? Biden kept the Trump sanctions, even after he failed. So look, Biden becomes president, the Democrat, and it was a lot he could have did to reinstall Obama's legacy. Biden could have gotten a new deal with Iran and reinstall Obama's deal. Biden, I believe on purpose, took his time. Biden could have got Obamacare permanentized and reinstall Obama's agenda. I believe on purpose, Biden was killing Obama's legacy and Obama's agenda because he wanted to install his own. So I believe on purpose, Biden let Obamacare die, and Biden let the JPCOA die because he didn't give a fuck about Obama. And I also believe he put Kamala Harris as the border czar after he opened up the border without proper logistics to sink Kamala Harris' chances of becoming president. You guys weren't paying attention. Biden was a dirty old motherfucker. He was a dirty old motherfucker. He could have permanentized Barack Obama's health care. He didn't. He didn't care. He wanted his legacy. Right? And instead, you know what he did instead of going forward with the JPCOA? He kept the Trump sanctions in Iran. So I just taught you. Listen to what I just taught you. Biden was consistent with Trump on Venezuela. Biden was consistent with Trump on taxes. And Biden was consistent with Trump on Iran. How many people knew this? It's some cold game. It's a cold game. Biden was consistent with Trump on all of these things. It's a cold game. It's a cold. Trump celebrates an 80th birthday with Flag Day and UFC event at the White House, and Michelle Obama gets called the man. The shit goes viral. I got a poll in the chat. We talking about it right now. We talking about the Iran deal. We talking about Barack Obama and Barack Obama whining about the Iran deal. Barack Obama talking about how his deal was the same and Trump ain't gonna get no different or better deal and all this. And I just broke it down. I just broke it down to the very last compound that the deal that you got. Your own vice president, when he became president, wasn't even messing with you on that deal. So Barack Obama, please have several seats. Everybody tell Barack Obama to please have several seats right now. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's go to the deal. I'm going to stay with the Iran deal because we talking about the Iran deal. Let's stay with the Iran deal. Double tap, hit the like button.
Will be signed today. The president writing on Truth Social yesterday that the terms of the deal to end the 3-month conflict involve Iran agreeing to not having and not moving to procure a nuclear weapon today or in the future, and a complete opening of the Strait of Hormuz. The president says at a point in the future and at the appropriate time, the U.S. will then retrieve the remaining uranium and destroy it, that is the nuclear dust, in Iran when all is calm after the deal is signed and in place. Sources close to the talks told me once Iran shows it is acting in good faith and proving the above is implemented, then and only at that time, the U.S. will begin to unlock the U.S. sanctions in place against Iran and begin to help Iran get reintegrated back into the global economy. This after the president announced on Friday that the U.S. took out the leader of the notorious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, with a swift and lethal kinetic strike. The U.S. labeled Tren de Aragua a terrorist organization, which the Trump administration says is at the root of violence and illegal human and drug trafficking here in America. President Trump is set to travel to France tomorrow for the start of the G7 summit, where the Iran deal, as well as trade and tariffs, will be on the agenda. Join me now with more on all of this breaking news developments is the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Michael Waltz. Ambassador, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Maria, and happy birthday to the Army, happy Flag Day, and happy birthday to President Trump.
Absolutely. Let's talk about what could be an incredible birthday present for this president, and that is a potential deal with Iran. Do you believe something will be signed today? What can you tell us? Because I know that Israel and the Lebanon arm of this has created some complications.
Well, sure. The president has every intent that this deal get signed, move forward. I'll leave it to our great vice president and his team for the actual details. But as you mentioned, Hezbollah is attacking Israel. We know there's some hardliners in Iran that are not fans of the concessions Iran's making here. So it's incredibly complicated, and I'll leave it to them to actually announce when they'll sign on the dotted line. But there is every intent that we move forward with the president's vision. And he's been very clear on this for many decades. Iran cannot and will not have a nuclear weapon, and they cannot and will not hold the world's economies hostage with sea mines attacking shipping and trying to charge tolls in violation of many international agreements and international law.
Yeah, and I was on a call yesterday where we got the details in terms of the vice president, J.D. Vance, talking about where we are in this. And I guess many of the questions that I had revolved around how we will verify that Iran keeps its promises, Ambassador. So what can you tell us in terms of what the plans are to ensure that Iran keeps its promise not to procure a nuclear weapon, not to support terrorist organizations? Is it just knowing that the Strait of Hormuz is open? Is that one of the important levers to unleash these, take away these sanctions? Or is it something else in terms of verification that you could talk about?
Well, there are two fundamental changes from the horrible Obama deal. Right. One is the verification regime under the JCPOA, under Obama's deal. There was not anytime, anywhere verification. They could determine or even delay the inspectors. And most importantly, they could just call a site a military site, and then it was off limits. You're absolutely right. This is all about, there is no trust. There is all about verify, number one. And then number two, you're not going to see, these pallets of cash moving up.
So big changes, huge changes from the JCPOA. So what you're hearing, ladies and gentlemen, is we're hearing the framework of the deal. There will be no lifting of the sanctions until we get cooperations, and there will be a lot of different ways to enforce this agreement. I'm liking what I'm hearing. Put a one in the chat if you like the deal that's being put on the table. Trump says he's in the G7 today. There's a possibility the deal will be signed today or tomorrow. Let me know, how much did you pay for gas? What state are you in? How much did you pay for gas? Do you see the gas prices going down? Do you agree with the logic behind the deal and the negotiation process? Double tap at the like button.
Up front, it is going to be pay for performance. And oh, by the way, you have to come to a UN Security Council resolution that we snapped back to in terms of lifting sanctions on the Iranian economy. And then finally, Maria, the blockade, this is a huge difference from the past. President Trump's blockade has been enormously effective. This is why you see the regime practically begging for access to any type of economic lifeline. But again, they're not going to get it until they live up to their end of the bargain. So President Trump knows how to drive a deal. And unlike his predecessors, he's got the great United States military and very effective actions by Secretary Scott Bessent to keep a foot on the neck of the regime's economy.
So Iran is in the same place as Cuba. And you know what I want to know? You know what else is so beautiful about this situation is we still have over 10,000 troops and 3 aircraft carriers. I haven't heard anything about any of those troops or those aircraft carriers leaving the region. So people want to know, how will we enforce the deal? We ain't going nowhere. Put it in the chat. We ain't going nowhere. And what about the fact last week I revealed that Trump has been stealing oil from Iran? Trump has been stealing oil from Iran. Double tap at the like button. We got an Iranian deal. We're getting the details right now. We got an Iranian deal coming in right now. Now, he just mentioned the JCPOA. Barack Obama, he said he just mentioned differences in this deal and Barack Obama's deal. Now, Barack Obama has said, this is a comment from Barack Obama. Barack Obama has said any deal wouldn't be different than his deal, but we just heard the differences, Barack Obama. Let's get the details. And remember what I reported to you earlier, that Joe Biden didn't like Barack Obama's deal, and Joe Biden refused to go back into the J. So listen to the way he carefully and artfully phrases this, because he wants to give Joe Biden cover. Double tap at the like button, you guys. Like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, hit the plus sign, become a member. Trump news, Trump news, Trump news, giving Democrats the boo blues. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen.
The fact of the matter is that taking the time to explore diplomacy and exhaust the possibilities of coming up with deals that don't solve 100% of the problem, but solve 80, 90% of the problem, while avoiding the necessity of going to war. You'd think we would have learned that lesson by now, but it seems like every so often we have to relearn that lesson. The fact of the matter is that taking the time to explore diplomacy and exhaust the possibilities of coming up with deals that don't solve 100% of the problem, but solve 80, 90% of the problem, while avoiding the necessity of going to war. You'd think we would have learned that lesson by now, but it seems like every so often we have to relearn that lesson. The fact of the matter is
you think you would be quiet. You think you would sit down and grow old with your raisin-headed ass. We don't want to hear nothing from you, Obama. Joe Biden didn't want to hear nothing from you, Obama. We don't want to hear from Wakanda. We don't want to hear from Wakanda, Obama. We don't care what you got to say. This is why we turning red, because they keep trying to push this. And then it's the double talk. Are you congratulating Trump? I saw. Are you congratulating? It sound like you congratulate. It sound like you are congratulating Trump. Just say congratulations, Obama. Just say congratulations. Can you just say congratulations? That's all I need you to say. Can you just say?
Mark,
It would be better if you just said congratulations, because it sounds like you are congratulating Trump on coming with a great deal and making a great deal, not only in Iran, but in Venezuela. Is Barack Obama congratulating Trump? Put it in the chat right now. Is Barack Obama congratulating Trump? Because it looks to me,
while simultaneously opening the Strait.
it looks to me that congratulations is due. How many people believe congratulations? I believe congratulations is due. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's keep going. Iran deal. JD Vance, next president of the United States. Can I get Vance Rubio 2028? Can I get Vance Rubio 2028? JD Vance, next president of the United States. And remember, Trump said that Trump then got 30, well, how many? Before Massey, Ken Paxton, Trump got 37 of his nominees and 37 rhinos. Crikey, Governor, what is that? Is that an old white rhino? What are you doing? We're hunting old white rhinos. Trump taking out old white rhinos left and right. JD Vance 2028. Let's get into the mix, man. We got an Iran deal on the table. Gas prices going down. We looking good domestically. We looking great geopolitically. Put a 1 in the chat if you're fucking with JD Vance. Double tap hit the like button, everybody. Double tap hit the like button, everybody. As you come in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the vote. We got 35 likes. What's up with the likes, man? We do not have enough likes. What's up with the likes, man? Get the likes up, party people. Get the likes up, party people. Double tap it to get the likes up, party people. Get the likes up, party people. And y'all know the rules, man. Y'all can't troll if y'all don't hit the like, man. We can't have all the trolling and everybody having fun. Everybody having fun. Everybody having fun. You got to get your money up, man. You got to get your money up, man. Y'all just want to come in and have fun, man. Get your money up, man. BD, Big Daddy Beer Gaming, what's up with you, man? What's up at 5.0, 5.0, 5.0? Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Get your money up, man. 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 Everybody who coming in, man, you can't talk that cash, SHIT, without the cash, man. Without the cash, man. Without the cash. Get the cash up, man. Get the cash up, man. Let's get the cash. Relax and talk sports in the building. Double tap at the like button. Oh, man. Let's clean it up. 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 All you got to do is spend a little money, man. If you want to make a little comment, spend that shit. Spin that shit. Oh, man. If you want to make a comment, man, all you got to do is just spend a little money, man. Spin that shit. Spin that shit. Double tap hit the like button, man. Double tap, hit the like button, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Everybody, double tap, hit the like button, man. Double tap, subscribe, get the likes up, man. Man, he should win the Peace Prize, man. Trump should win the Peace Prize, man. Straight up. Man, Tim Walz can never run for president. Tim Walz can never run for office. And if Kamala tries to run, I'm telling you, I'm in the chat, I'm in the audience. Kamala, what did you know? Kamala, did you know? And I want the reporters to ask the hard questions, man. What did Kamala know and when? What did Kamala know and when? Straight up, man. Get the likes up, man. Get the likes up, man. Get the likes up, party people. Get the likes up, party people. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button, everybody. Can't See It Red said for the pocketbook and the billphone $1.99. Shout out to Can't See It Red. Can't See It Red $1.99 for the pocketbook and the billphone. Use a code with Pick. Can't See It Red. Use a code with me. That's my brother from another mother, man. Yeah, man. How much is y'all paying for gas, man? Put it in the chat right now. Have you seen the gas prices going down since the talks of the Iran deal? It's a lot going on geopolitically. I just filled up my gas. I just filled up my wife's gas prices. And I want to know how you guys feel about the gas. You know, I'm trolling with the Michelle Obama because there's so much going on with the G7. There's so much going on with geopolitics that really affect your life. And if you have 19-year-old kids because we were talking about Carg Island, we were talking about potentially troops on the ground. I mean, there's so much going on that affects your actual life, right? So some people didn't like the UFC. Some people said, and I respect when people disagree with me and just say it. Like he said, not a good look, boss. Dana White brand is going down. He disagrees with the fact probably that Dana White, I don't know if we blame Dana White for some ignorant guy who says some ignorant comment. You know, ignorant people gonna be ignorant people. See, this is the thing that the Democrats would like to distract, right? The world is a crazy place. So I don't believe we allow somebody saying something stupid to distract us from important. It's just like in school, right? It's just like at work when somebody tries to say something stupid to distract from something that's more important going on. You know, I put it I put it as a question to be triggering purposely, right? Because I understand how the algorithm works, but you know, somebody said 369 in Virginia. Damn, that's hella good, man. You know, it was damn near $8 a gallon at the highest heights of the Iranian conflict. In San Francisco and LA, we saw $7.60, almost $8, 8 and 9. I heard reports some places was $10. I mean, even here in Sacramento, I think it got like the $6 a gallon. So let everybody listening, like $8 is not high if you think $6 in Sacramento. So $8 in San Francisco, $10 in some places around, you know what I'm saying? $10 around some places around Disneyland and Anaheim. So now we're seeing prices go back down. And I told you, I saw reports that potentially we could have $50 to $70 barrels of oil. Let's listen to JD Vance on what's going on with the Iran deal.
It ensures that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon while simultaneously opening the Strait of Hormuz. You already see oil prices from a high of $126 a barrel down to about $80 a barrel today. That's a lot of progress. But it also, Gail, fundamentally extends a hand to Iran and says, look, if you guys are willing to honor your obligations, if you're willing to allow real inspections of your nuclear program, then we will welcome you back into the world economy. But that requires the Iranians to actually honor it their end of the bargain. So when people say that billions of dollars of assets will be released, that's not true. What is true is that Iran will have a much better and much more prosperous future if they meet the obligations they make in this agreement.
The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. We absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon.
They say they're going to get $24 billion in frozen funds if they hit certain benchmarks. Is that true?
Well, again, Ed, we're open to a lot of things that are on the table, but that $24 billion just doesn't appear anywhere in any of the texts that we've talked about with the Iranians. What we have said is that we're willing to talk about
Bam! Bam! Put it in the chat. Bam! Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Bam! Put it in the chat. Oh, 25 million. It's the same as the Obama deal. Bam! 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 Can we hear it one more time, JD? Vance Rubio 2028. Can I get Vance Rubio 2028? Shut down the haters, Vance. Shut down. This is why California going red. This is why Jasmine Crockett got fired. This is why MTG got fired. This is why Tim Walz is getting fired. This is why Kamala Harris will never run for office again, because the Democrats don't know how to win. The Democrats don't know how to win. One more time. One more time. We're going to celebrate.
$1 billion in frozen funds if they hit certain benchmarks. Is that true?
Well, again, Ed, we're open to a lot of things that are on the table, but that $24 billion just doesn't appear anywhere in any of the texts that we've talked about with the Iranians.
Bam! 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 Slam dunk! Slam dunk! Slam dunk! JD Vance 2028. JD Vance, Marco Rubio, unbeatable duo for 2028. I'm coming to you live. I'm coming to you live from the White House, from Vienna, from Vienna, G7, B7, holy moly, macaroni. We got a deal on the table. Gas prices is dropping and plummeting fast as they could be. Venezuelan crude, Iranian oil, bubbling up black gold, bubbling up black gold, black gold, black gold.
Countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon.
They say they're going to get $24 billion in frozen funds if they hit certain benchmarks. Is that true?
Well, again, Ed, we're open to a lot of things that are on the table, but that $24 billion just doesn't appear anywhere in any of the texts that we've talked about with the Iranians. What we have said is that we're willing to talk about unfreezing assets, but a much, much bigger deal is unsanctioning their economy so long as they make the long-term commitments on the nuclear programs.
Will U.S. ground troops go in to make sure that we have everything?
We certainly talked with the Iranians about how we're going to destroy that enriched stockpile. The technical details are one of the things that we're going to work on when we start those technical talks on Friday. But absolutely, we're talking about working with the IAEA and working with the Iranians to go in and destroy that enriched stockpile of material. Whether we play an observer role or whether we play a more active role, these are the sorts of things that we'll figure out in technical talks. But what the president has made very clear is the United States will be there to confirm that that enriched stockpile of material is destroyed.
I think I just did some breaking news, you guys. That was a real good question on whether or not American troops will go in to secure the uranium, and that is still a potential. Now, remember, we talked about Karg Island, and President Trump said last week he didn't think Americans had the stomach for Karg Island, because to go get Karg Island, again, that would be American troops on the ground. That would be American troops on the ground. So JD Vance for 2028, Vance Rubio 2028. You know, President Trump recently said that JD Vance and Marco Rubio would be hard to beat in 2028. Can I get a Vance Rubio 2028? Before we go back and break down what JD Vance just said about the Iran deal, because it's very important, because people are speculating that this Iran deal is similar to what Barack Obama did and that there's some $25 billion on the table. JD Vance just put that to rest. Let's hear Donald Trump.
The Democrats, who knows who they're going to field? Yeah. They don't have a great candidates, but you have a cornucopia of talent.
We have a lot of talent.
And you've talked about JD and Marco Rubio, and I think you like sort of putting them.
They're both very talented.
So
they're both great. Well, I like them both, and I like them together. You know, it would be great. I don't know how you beat them if they're together. That would be a great team. JD and
How do you beat him? How do you beat him? Double tap, hit the like button. How do you beat him? This is Donald Trump. And then he waited. I believe he waited. Remember what I told you earlier. There's a reason why we're getting the deal before the midterms, so that JD Vance and Marco Rubio are able to run on the success of Venezuela, the success of Cuba, the success of the hostages being returned in Gaza, peace in Gaza. You know, Trump has been so successful geopolitically that people forget about Gaza and the horrific thing that happened on October 7th. So JD Vance and Marco Rubio, who were integral in the peace agreements, not only in Gaza, but also in Venezuela, Cuba, but now Iran, will be able to run on all of these things against the Democrats, who will have to answer for $19 billion Somalian fraud and all of the fraud uncovered by the great Nick Shirley. Because that's all I want to talk about. In 2026 and 2028, all I want to know from the Democrats is, how did you let the country be robbed for billions in Minnesota, in California, in Portland? Double tap at the like button.
The Democrats, who knows who they're going to field?
Yeah.
They don't have a great candidates, but you have a cornucopia of talent.
we have a lot of talent.
And you've talked about JD and Marco Rubio, and I think you like sort of
Good. It's
putting
great.
them
They're both
against
very
each other.
talented.
So if
They're
you,
both great. Well, I
Yeah.
like them both, and I like them together. You know, it would be great. I don't know how you beat them if they're together. That would be a great team. JD and
I don't know how you beat them if they're together. It's a great team. I don't know. How did you beat them if they're together? It's a great team. It's JD and Marco Rubio. How do you beat them? I don't think you could beat them. I don't think you could beat them. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap. This is Trump on the record. JD, Marco Rubio, unbeatable for 2028. And I am in agreement. MAGA is in agreement. It is Mega MAGA Monday. It is Mega MAGA Monday on YouTube. Double tap, hit the like button. Trump deal with Iran now complete. I am getting you details, firsthand, breaking news, and you should see it at the gas pump. People right now in the chat are putting their states and putting how much they are paying for gas. Everybody keep in mind, do you guys know that even with the Venezuelan conflict, even with Cuba, even with the Gaza conflict that was now a peace agreement, even with the Iranian invasion, inflation was still higher under Biden? I paid more for gas under Biden. I paid more for eggs under Biden. And now we have a peace agreement on the table. I just want to remind people, you know what I love to bring up about Biden's era and the inflation? I remind people about something. Under Biden, we not only saw hyperinflation, but to compel and help Americans deal with the hyperinflation, we saw something called shrinkflation. Is everybody familiar with shrinkflation? That took place under Biden, but there were no global conflicts. There was no Venezuelan conflict. There was no Cuban conflict. He was not trying to solve Russia or Gaza, and he did not invade Iran. But not only did Biden have hyperinflation, he has shrinkflation. Yeah, corporations shrank packages under Biden from 16 ounces to 12 ounces, but kept the same marketing. So when you go to the supermarket today, under Biden, you were paying more and getting less. Shrinkflation on type of hyperinflation, and no Iran invasion. That's what America is like under Democrats. I just want to remind you, as we talk about the Trump-Iran deal and gas prices going down and Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire, in this economy, Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire in this economy. How many people made money off of SpaceX? Double tap at the like button.
Answered their call, and they were asking him to stop the bombing. And ultimately, he did. And he said, you have to sign the agreement, and I'll stop the bombing. But this moment set things advance. It advanced the conversation to a place that actually allowed this agreement to get signed. Because again, the Iranians, according to President Trump, were tapping the United States along. And ultimately, the United States, after the Apache helicopter was taken down by an Iranian drone, responded with heavy airstrikes that also included 49 Tomahawk missiles launched toward targets as close as 40 miles from the capital of Tehran. And this sent a very clear message to the Iranian regime. If you don't want to resolve this at the negotiating table, it will be resolved on the battlefield. And the Iranians can look at their Navy. They can look at the production lines for the ballistic missile and drone programs that exist in their country. And then they have a question to ask themselves. Is it worth it at this point? After Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed, along with 40 other senior officials, the second tier of officials in Iran taken out. And again, it raised this question for the regime, is it worth it? And ultimately, they decided to take this diplomatic path. And according to President Trump and the Prime Minister of Pakistan, they have signed a deal.
Trey, former President Obama was on TV earlier today saying, you know, whatever deal the president is able to sign, that it wouldn't be much different than his deal, the JCPOA. Can you tell us how this deal is different and how it is better?
So broadly speaking, the JCPOA deal negotiated under President Obama allowed Iran a path toward a nuclear program. Because when we talk about enriched uranium, and this is really important when we look at the difference in these deals here, and I don't want to give you too much of a lesson on enrichment, but it's actually quite important when we're talking about the Obama deal versus the deal that was just signed right now. During the Obama administration, it allowed Iran to continue enriching uranium. And the way that uranium is enriched, the uranium ore is actually extracted from the ground, and then through a chemical process, it turns into yellow cake. And then another chemical process, it turns into hexafluoride gas. And they spin that gas very rapidly in advanced centrifuges. And ultimately, the heavier particles go to the outside and the lighter ones stay in the middle. And this is repeated over and over again until you get to a higher purity of enriched uranium. And to take enriched uranium from, let's say, 5 to 10% to 20%, ultimately to 60%, and eventually 90%, which is weapons-grade material, can be a matter of weeks, if not days. And so allowing the Iranians to keep advanced centrifuges and then enrich uranium, eventually closer to weapons-grade material, set them on a path toward a weapon, because that is a process that is needed to create a nuclear weapon, even if they weren't doing it at that moment. This
Is that clear, everybody, that the huge difference between the Trump deal and the Obama deal is that they were allowed to continue to enrich uranium? Double tap at the like button. You're watching the Perfect Timing Podcast, #1 pod. Let's go into core comparisons, and we're going to rewatch that video, and I'm going to break it down. Obama administration, JCPOA versus the Trump administration. Type of agreement. The Obama agreement was a multilateral signed by the U.S., Iran, China, Russia, the UK, France, and Germany. Trump administration is bilateral / direct negotiations led by U.S. and direct talks with Iran. This is very different. This is what I keep highlighting when I talk about the fact that there was no Israel complicitness in the U.S. invading Iran. Today, I'm going to keep reiterating and talk about the fact that the Russia hoax has been debunked, and I was the first one to debunk the Israel hoax, that somehow Israel was complicit in America going into Iran. What you need to understand about the deal that we were just discussing is that Israel is not at the table. This is a direct deal between the U.S. and Iran. Double tap at the like button. Do you see the differences here as we get into the nuances of the deal? This is huge, that you understand that Obama's deal was multilateral and that the Trump administration's deal was bilateral, a direct deal. Let's keep going. The nuclear enrichment, what we just discussed, that is the major point of contention. Obama's deal allowed a low-level uranium enrichment up to 3.67 strictly for civilian energy purposes. That was what was just explained by the video. That was a great video that we just watched, but it was a little bit wonky. It was a little bit confusing. You may not have understood everything in the video. We're going to rewatch it. What he says, the major differences between Obama and Trump is that Obama allowed a low level of uranium to be enriched, and Trump's deal aims for zero enrichment and demands the dismantling of Iran's nuclear centrifuge and infrastructure. You guys get it? I just wanted to give you those details. Listen again. He's going to get a little wonky, but it's important that you know these wonky details so you can argue when someone says the deals are similar. They are not similar. Not on the face, not underneath. Double tap at the like button. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. #1 podcast on YouTube.
Answered their call, and they were asking him to stop the bombing. And ultimately, he did. And he said, you have to sign the agreement and I'll stop the bombing. But this moment set things advance. It advanced the conversation to a place that actually allowed this agreement to get signed. Because again, the Iranians, according to President Trump, were tapping the United States along. And ultimately, the United States, after the Apache helicopter was taken down by an Iranian drone, responded with heavy airstrikes that also included 49 Tomahawk missiles launched toward targets as close as 40 miles from the capital of Tehran. And this sent a very clear message to the Iranian regime. If you don't want to resolve this at the negotiating table, it will be resolved on the battlefield. And the Iranians can look at their Navy. They can look at the production lines for the ballistic missile and drone programs that exist in their country. And then they have a question to ask themselves. Is it worth it at this point? After Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed, along with 40 other senior officials, the second tier of officials in Iran taken out.
So that means a lot to why this deal will stay in place and how we got to the deal. Does everybody understand what he just explained? Over the weekend, I talked about, and I was very honest. MAGA has been honest. Yes, a Tomahawk helicopter was shot down. This is, I won't lie, a Tomahawk helicopter was shot down and drones were needed to rescue the pilots. After the helicopter was shot down, Trump was pissed and said, we're going to invade and blow them up because they were playing with us, right? So Trump invaded and he started to blow them up. And like the details just said, that he was sending bombs 40 miles outside of Tehran. And there was a calculation on the side of the IRGC, who are still terrorists, by the way. There was a calculation on the side of the Iranians. The Iranians had to calculate how many missiles they have left, what proliferation of their Navy, and whether or not it's worth it to them. Let's listen to that again. He is explaining that after the helicopter was shot down, there was supposed to be a ceasefire. The ceasefire did not work because Israel, who was supposedly complicit in the people pushing us, Israel, who is not at the deal table, will not stop bombing Lebanon, right? So a helicopter got shot down. Trump responds with starting back up the bombing. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen, because the Iranians realize the Americans are not fucking around. Fuck around and find out. Trump is going to continue bombing until we make a deal. And there is no money on the table, and there is no enrichment on the table. Double tap at the like button. You are hearing the details of the Iran deal from the Perfect Timing Podcast. Breaking news, Iran deal done. We're going to go to the G7. We're going to get the details of the enrichment and the differences between Obama's deal and Trump's deal.
Mm-hmm. And again, it raised this question for the regime, is it worth it? Mm-hmm. And ultimately, they decided to take this diplomatic path. And according to President Trump and the Prime Minister of Pakistan, they have signed a deal.
Trey, former President Obama was on TV.
According to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, they have signed a deal. Breaking news. Breaking news. Now, if anything changes, I will update this. But I'm reporting to you that according to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, we have a potential deal on the table with Iran. Breaking news.
Earlier today saying, you know, whatever deal the president is able to sign, that it wouldn't be much different than his deal, the JCPOA. Can you tell us how this deal is different and how it is better?
So broadly speaking, the JCPOA deal negotiated under President Obama allowed Iran a path toward a nuclear program. Because when we talk about enriched uranium, and this is really important when we look at the difference in these deals here, and I don't want to give you too much of a lesson on enrichment, but it's actually quite important when we're talking about the Obama deal versus the deal that was just signed right now. During the Obama administration, it allowed Iran to continue enriching uranium. And the way that uranium is enriched, the uranium ore is actually extracted from the ground, and then through a chemical process, it turns into yellow cake. And then another chemical process, it turns into hexafluoride gas. And they spin that gas very rapidly in advanced centrifuges. And ultimately, the heavier particles go to the outside and the lighter ones stay in the middle. And this is repeated over and over again until you get to a higher purity of enriched uranium. And to take enriched uranium from, let's say, 5 to 10% to 20%, ultimately to 60%, and eventually 90%, which is weapons-grade material, can be a matter of weeks, if not days. And so allowing the Iranians to keep advanced centrifuges and then enrich uranium, eventually closer to weapons-grade material, set them on a path toward a weapon, because that is a process that is needed to create a nuclear weapon, even if they weren't doing it.
So do you guys understand? Let's go back to the detail. Do you guys understand that? Do you understand? That's the wonky part, the huge difference between Obama and Trump. I'm going to show you right now. Here it is. The Obama deal allowed low-level uranium enrichment. Let's get this understood, right? Let's get this understood because the speculation is going to stop here. Because this is what I do. I do my job. I do it well. The speculation, the disagreements, the arguments, the blah, 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 the blase is going to stop here. These are the differences of the deals right here. I got the details right here. To get you the details from the video, Barack Obama allowed low-level uranium enrichment up to 3.67 strictly for civilian energy purposes. What he is explaining, in order to accomplish this, you need the equipment to create a nuclear weapon. Does everybody at home understand? This may be the biggest science lesson that you get. Barack Obama allowed them the ability to create uranium, but the understanding that Americans didn't have, in order to get to 3.67, they need to have the same equipment that would be necessary to create a nuclear bomb, which put them on track to create a nuclear bomb. The Trump deal says zero enrichment and demands, listen to this, this is the other key part, dismantling of Iran's nuclear centrifuge and structure, which is needed, ding, 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 which is needed. This nuclear centrifuge infrastructure is needed to allow them to create the 3.67. Do you see how Barack Obama failed you? Do you see how Barack Obama failed you? Do you see how Barack Obama failed you? Let's get back to the video.
This answered their call, and they were asking him to stop the bombing. And ultimately, he did. And he said, you have to sign the agreement, and I'll stop the bombing. But this moment set things advance. It advanced the conversation to a place that actually allowed this agreement to get signed. Because again, the Iranians, according to President Trump, were tapping the United States along. And ultimately, the United States, after the Apache helicopter was taken down by an Iranian drone, responded with heavy airstrikes that also included 49 Tomahawk missiles launched toward targets as close as 40 miles from the capital of Tehran. And this sent a very clear message to the Iranian regime. If you don't want to resolve this at the negotiating table, it will be resolved on the battlefield. And the Iranians can look at their Navy. They can look at the production lines for the ballistic missile and drone programs that exist in their country. And then they have a question to ask themselves. Is it worth it at this point? After Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed, along with 40 other senior officials, the second tier of officials in Iran taken out. And again, it raised this question for the regime, is it worth it? And ultimately, they decided to take this diplomatic path. And according to President Trump and the Prime Minister of Pakistan, they have signed a deal.
Trey, former President Obama was on TV earlier today saying, you know, whatever deal the president is able to sign, that it wouldn't be much different than his deal, the JCPOA. Can you tell us how this deal is different and how it is better?
So broadly speaking, the JCPOA deal negotiated under President Obama allowed Iran a path toward a nuclear program. Because when we talk about enriched uranium, and this is really important when we look at the difference in these deals here, and I don't want to give you too much of a lesson on enrichment, but it's actually quite important when we're talking about the Obama deal versus the deal that was just signed right now. During the Obama administration, it allowed Iran to continue enriching uranium. And the way that uranium is enriched, the uranium ore is actually extracted from the ground, and then through a chemical process, it turns into yellow cake. And then another chemical process, it turns into hexafluoride gas. And they spin that gas very rapidly in advanced centrifuges. And ultimately, the heavier particles go to the outside and the lighter ones stay in the middle. And this is repeated over and over again until you get to a higher purity of enriched uranium. And to take enriched uranium from, let's say, 5 to 10% to 20%, ultimately to 60%, and eventually 90%, which is weapons-grade material, can be a matter of weeks, if not days. And so allowing the Iranians to keep advanced centrifuges and then enrich uranium, eventually closer to weapons-grade material, set them on a path toward a weapon, because that is a process that is needed to create a nuclear weapon, even if they weren't doing it
uranium for non-military purposes. Former President Obama casting doubt on how it's different from his own deal.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place, and had worked for a long stretch of time before the United States pulled out of it.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen. Mark, I would say this.
So this is Barack Obama. I just played to you the video where he broke down the difference between Barack Obama's deal and the Trump deal. There are huge differences. There are huge differences between the Barack Obama deal and the Trump deal. I just broke them down. I even showed the details, because it's one thing to go over the details the way he did in that video with the nuclear centrifuges and what's needed to make the yellow cake. So what he explained in that video is that in order to enrich, Barack, this is the differences between the two deals. Everybody, this is what I do. This is the best podcast on YouTube. So you might see a lot of videos today showing the video that you're watching right now. You may see a lot of videos today with a lot of different things. You're not going to see a table like this on any other video, because no one else is doing research, creating this information like you, putting the information together like this, right? And getting into the nuances and the details of the differences between the deal. They may just bark at the screen and say, oh, Trump's deal is better, without giving you details. This is a core comparison, a table I put together with my own intelligence and my own knowledge to show my audience the differences, the key differences between the JCPOA from the Obama administration and the Trump administration's deal that is currently on the table. If we start from the beginning, the type of agreement that Barack Obama put forth was a multilateral agreement signed not only by the U.S. and not only negotiated on behalf of the U.S., but U.S., Iran, China, Russia, UK, France, and Germany. This is very different than the deal I am reporting to you today. Today, I am reporting to you a deal that is a bilateral deal, direct talks only with the U.S. and Iran. And I reiterate, for the umpteenth time, Israel is not at the table. Starmer is not at the table. Macron is not at the table. Dirty Sanchez in Spain is not at the table. NATO is not at the table. The deal is between the U.S. and Iran. Who will capitalize? Who will profit off the deal? The U.S. Who will profit off the deal? The U.S. The same thing with Venezuela. Who profit off the deal with Venezuela? The U.S. I had to iterate because people keep saying Israel this and Israel that. Israel is not part of these peace talks. Israel will not benefit from the agreement in the Iran. This is a bilateral deal. Those are number one, as we start off with the differences between Obama and Trump. I believe that is a home run before we even get started. Just the fact that Obama had us in this, we are the world, we are the world, we are the children. Somalians came here and stole 19 billion. They built learning centers, but the children didn't learn shit. Ilhan Omar stole 30 million. So there's a huge difference in Barack Obama, multilateral, which put the America, not America first. See, that's what MAGA is. That's what Trump is. The bilateral deal that we're talking about this morning is America first. Only America. Starmer is not calling Trump saying, I don't like this, can you change this? Macron is not calling Trump saying, I don't like this, can you change this? There is no France. There is no UK, EU, whatever they have over there, Brexit. There is no, they got Belfast is on fire. This is why MAGA doesn't want to be part of NATO. Belfast is on fire. Europe can't get its act together. So what we need to understand is this is a beautiful deal for America, because if Europe and the UK and Ireland and Belfast can't get its act together on immigration, then why do we need to partner with them on such important deals? This is the best thing, just even before we get started. This is how good Trump is. A lot of you don't know what's going on internationally, right? The guy, Tommy, friends with Charlie Kirk, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I love you. God bless your wife and your kids. The guy, Tommy, friends with Tommy Kirk, he just had a march a couple weeks ago, almost 1 million people marching about immigration. I told you, in Germany, there are Europeans who hide wear hoodies on their way to work because they don't want to get harassed because there's so many Muslim immigrants in European cities. So white Europeans wear hoodies, wear 3/4 of cloth. And this is the problems that they have in the UK and Europe. This is what they have in Europe with their immigration. So what I am saying to you, what MAGA is saying, if Europe can't get its act together, if Europe don't know what's going on, if Belfast is on fire, then it's so great that this deal is a bilateral deal. And let's look at this shit again. It says, does it say EU and UK? So it says the UK, it leaves out the EU. So this deal maybe was before Brexit. Do you guys realize if we sign the deal like this today, it would have to say UK and the EU because the UK and the EU are separate. So what the fuck are we paying for? Why would we pay in the NATO? Just to give the top down look. Just to give a top down look. Belfast is on fire. So as we start at the key differences between the Obama deal and the Trump deal is a bilateral deal, and we don't have to worry about the UK or the EU or Iran or China or France or Germany not liking parts of the deal. Now, that's number one. That's a home run already, right? We don't have to negotiate with Starmer. We don't have to hear bullshit from Macron. I think that's a home run already. How many people in the chat like the fact that it's a bilateral deal and we don't have Starmer and Macron in our pockets? How many people understand geopolitics? And who knows what I mean when I say Starmer? Who knows what I mean when I say Macron? And that this is a bilateral deal and Starmer and Macron could kiss our ass. How many people like that? I love it. This is why I voted for Trump. I love it. This is America first. This is MAGA. I love it. If you understand. If you understand how many people love that, put a 1 in the chat if you love that. I love it. I love that it's a bilateral deal and Starmer and Macron could kiss ass. I love it. Let's keep going. And then it says, Barack Obama, these are the core comparisons. Obama administration, JCPOA, Barack Obama allowed in the JCPOA, he allowed low-level uranium enrichment up to 3.67 strictly for civilian energy purposes. What was explained in that wonky video is the machinery and technology necessary to enrich uranium to 3.67%. It is done by getting the yellow cake, and it is the same process that you use. Double tap hit the like button. It is the same process that one would use to create a nuclear bomb. Trump differs in that because he says zero enrichment, but not only zero enrichment, he's always said zero enrichment. This is the kicker right here, because I haven't heard him say this, but this lets you know that Trump is not playing. Fuck around and find out. Trump always said zero enrichment, right? Trump always said zero enrichment, right? This is the way you know Trump is the king of New York. Trump said, and I want all of the nuclear centrifuges. I want all of the infrastructure. That's part of the deal. Trump is a big dog. Trump is a big dog. Trump is a big dog. Trump said, I want all of the nuclear centrifuges as part of the deal. Okay, Trump. Okay, Trump. Huh? Okay, Trump. Huh? Okay, Trump. I love you, baby. Okay. He said, I want all of the nuclear centrifuges. Huh? How you like me now? How you like me now? Huge differences. Double tap at the like button. And I love giving up the wonk. I love bringing y'all the real details.
Uranium for non-military.
Let's get into the details. The differences between the Trump and the Obama non-deal, feckless deal. Double tap at the like button.
Purposes. Former President Obama casting doubt on how it's different from his own deal.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place and had worked for a long stretch of time before the United States pulled out of it.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen. Mark, I would say this to the former president's point. The difference is that the president dismantled their military in full. Yeah. Of course, you got some missiles still left, and it takes away the uranium that is there. So I would say that's the key difference, right?
Well, first of all, it's the exact same deal, except for 14,000 military strikes that buried their entire nuclear program. Cable so deep that the Iranians have told us that they actually can't get to it. If we want the nuclear dust, we're going to have to come in and get it. Destroyed 82% of their defense industrial base, sunk their entire navy, grounded their entire air force, and also, by the way, the Ayatollah Khamenei, Qasem Soleimani, and like the top 2 tiers of their leadership are dead. But other than that, it's exactly like the Obama nuclear deal.
Yeah, so tell me, there are some concerns, and let's go through the proposed deal.
Yeah.
The resumption of the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. It ends the blockade on Iran. Negotiates around nuclear enrichment, disposal, and enrichment. That's the president saying he's going to get rid of that dust within the next 60 days. And then some sanctions release, and then the release of some of the frozen Iranian funds tied to Tehran's compliance. Okay, so, and then, of course, can't forget about the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Yeah.
What are your concerns? Because, you know, I look at it, and I said this early in the show.
Double tap, hit the like button. What are some of your concerns in the chat? Share with me some of your concerns in the chat. We just talking about this fantastic peace agreement. President Trump reportedly unloaded on Netanyahu after the Beirut attack and made it very clear he was furious, saying Netanyahu had no fucking judgment and that he personally passed that message on because he was not happy with the strike at all. I'm going to keep beating up this Israel hoax because it's the same thing that happened with the Russia hoax. And when you look at the peace agreement, when you look at the bilateral structure of the agreement, that Israel will not benefit of the agreement, that Israel is not at the table, and the way Trump has been dealing with Bibi in the last few weeks on the way to the peace agreement. Double tap hit the like button, #1 podcast on YouTube. Double tap hit the like button, #1 podcast on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. When you subscribe, hit the plus sign, become a member, and pay your
strikes. And he apparently called Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to say, "What the F are you doing?" Netanyahu posting birthday messages today to Trump on X in response. Despite Trump insisting there's going to be a deal signed today, Democrats on the Hill are speaking out, really critical and skeptical of all of this. Listen.
I don't know if you heard, but we ended the war with Iran today, and they have agreed never to have a nuclear weapon, something that we insisted on. That was the whole purpose.
Okay, that wasn't the right soundbite. I meant to say Senator Jack Reed saying that he believes there's going to be a deal, but the president really just wants to give a birthday present to himself. Tomorrow, the president arrives here for the G7 in Evian, France, not too far away from Geneva here. He'll address economic growth, illegal immigration, artificial intelligence, among other things. He also plans on meeting one-on-one with the leaders of Egypt, Qatar, and UAE on the sidelines of the summit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also attending. He just posted this, that he talked with Trump, discussing things that could help bring about peace now. And I informed the president, he says, about the latest developments on the battlefield and how our position has strengthened. We agree that we will discuss more during our meeting at the G7 summit. Here in Geneva, let's talk about those protests. Shops and hotels.
Double tap hit the like button, man. So much to talk about today. So much to talk about today. Let's go to, and then Trump just had his birthday party. I didn't even get to the birthday party because there's so much geopolitical content. I want to let some people were saying something about low IQ and this and that. I want to let the low IQ people focus on the racism and Michelle Obama, because when we got a G7 going on, when we got a potential end to the Iran conflict, when we got to talk about Venezuela crude, when we got to talk about Cuba embargoes, like there's so much. When we got to talk about 2026, you know the SAVE Act, they failed to pass the SAVE Act again. So they want you to focus on Michelle Obama, but I want the SAVE Act because I saw them cheat in California. How many people want to pass the SAVE Act? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to pass the SAVE Act. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to pass the SAVE Act. They want you to focus on racism. They want you to focus on gay and straight. They want you to focus on anything but what is going on in the world. And there are major changes. There is a major shift in the world that is happening right now. But if you get angry, if you dye your hair purple, and if you die on that hill in 2026, how weird is it if for you to die on the hill of racism in 2026 when black women are so empowered, the most educated, the most degrees, they don't want to get married, they don't want to like black men. For you to die on that hill in 2026 is so lame. For you to say it's more important to focus on whiny babies than what's going on in the G7 and what the future will be. I mean, Elon Musk just made $1 trillion with SpaceX, and they want to focus on racism and sex. Those people are not making money off of SpaceX. Those people are not making money off of SpaceX. And that's the sad part. Why? I bet you they don't even know about the SpaceX IPO. They are so enraged with TDS, with their purple hair. I think the purple hair goes into their brain. I think the purple hair stops them from thinking, because they rather focus on whether or not the president is racist or whether or not the globe is safer and what's the future for your pocketbook. Double tap, hit the like button, hit the super chat, hit the subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get a plus sign. Hit the plus sign and become a member. Donald Trump, the day after his birthday, at the G7. No sleep. Right from the UFC. Right from the USC to the G7. There go Macron. Coming to you live. So somebody in the chat mentioned that the deal hasn't been signed. What I reported earlier for everybody new in the chat, they say the deal may be signed on the 19th, right? That's what I reported earlier, that the deal, here it is right here. Some people wanted to know about the details. So the framework of the MOU is now finally ratified, not a final ratified treaty. Text agreed, former signing expected June 19th or 20th, 2026 in Geneva, Switzerland. Double tap, hit the like button, getting these facts out there. Double tap, hit the like button, get these facts out there. Just so y'all know about the deal, #1 podcast on YouTube. #1 podcast on YouTube. So somebody in the chat was, they love to come in and say things like they got a podcast that's popping and booming. You don't have a podcast that's popping and booming, so let the host do his job. If you're only here for 40 seconds, please don't make a fool of yourself. The framework is expected to be signed June 19th or June 20th, 2026 in Geneva. Some of the immediate provisions: reopen the Straits of Hormuz toll-free, U.S. lifts naval blockade on Iranian ports, immediate end to active military operations, including in Lebanon. I just played a report where Trump had to cuss out Bibi to get him to stop bombing in Lebanon. Iran must clear mines from the Strait, 60-day ceasefire window for deeper talks, and long-term elements, future negotiations on Iran nuclear program, enrichment limits, inspections, phase sanction relief tied to compliance. No full details on frozen assets released yet. Now, remember, in the chat, they wanted to argue about the $25 billion. Here is more confirmation that the $25 billion is speculation on the side of the Democrats, tried to do comparisons, right? So the mediator role is Pakistan. And then we have major countries and their reactions to the deal. Israel strongly, critically not a party to the deal and not bound to it. I said this over and over again. I'm doing my homework this morning. I'm debunking all of the BS, and we getting into the wonk. This is why this is the best podcast on YouTube for geopolitical debate. And domestic debate, right? Double tap, hit the like button. 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 It's the best podcast on YouTube. It's the best podcast on YouTube. Double tap, hit the like button. It's the best top podcast on YouTube. Make sure you vote and hit the like button before you get banned and kicked up out of here. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, look, the like button. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So Israel's not happy with the deal. And that's part of my argument that Israel was never the driving force behind us invading. I gave reports about Karg Island. I gave reports about every other president who wanted to invade Iran, the benefits of the petrodollar, numerous things and arguments why I've said Israel was not the driving force behind us invading Iran. I've even put forth the idea that America was using Israel. I believe America was using Israel as cover. I believe we always were going to invade Iran when we went to Venezuela. And that's why we wanted the Golden Dome. This was always on the horizon. It had nothing to do with Bibi. It had nothing to do with Israel. I believe that was cover. And it worked. It was cover. Every American president wanted to invade Iran. This is not new. Going back to the Shah, when we installed the Shah, it has nothing to do with Israel. Who installed the Shah in 53? That was MI6 and the CIA, and who benefited? Europe and America, the colonizers. This has always been about the colonizers. It's never been about Israel, but that was all the Democrats had, right? Going back to 53, it wasn't about Israel. It was about the colonizers. So Israel is strongly critical and not a party of the deal and not bound to it. Right? Concern, the framework does not sufficiently dismantle Iran's nuclear program, missiles, or proxy support Hezbollah, retains freedom of military operations. Netanyahu has spoken with Trump, but Israel has voiced outrage. NATO, cautious and welcome relief over reduced risk of wider war and reopening shipping lanes. China, these are reactions from different countries about the potential of the Iran deal between Iran and the U.S. If you notice, nobody is saying to Trump that Trump doesn't have the ability to do what he's doing. Not in Venezuela, not in Cuba, not in Iran, not in China, not in Russia. Trump is the king of New York and the leader of the free world. He has autonomy to do what he wants, anywhere he wants to. That means America is leading the world, and America has autonomy to do whatever it wants, when it wants to, in the globe right now. Double tap hit the like button. You should be proud. Happy birthday, Trump. Happy birthday, Trump. China says they're positive, quietly supportive, but they've been supportive since we left China. Russia has mixed feelings because it loses leverage from high oil prices, but gains from regional stability. I asked about the UAE, because the UAE left OPEC. The UAE left OPEC May 1st, 2026, prior to this deal, seeking production flexibility and diversification. I've spoken about this when I've spoken about gas prices today, and I've asked you to put in the chat the current gas price in your current state. A lot of you may not know about the UAE and the swap line in the UAE leaving OPEC. OPEC is an oil price fixing cartel. It is actually an illegal cartel that illegally price fixes. Okay, so how does OPEC feel about the deal? OPEC weakened cohesion due to UAE exit and return of Iranian oil supply, which is good for the American and the American gas prices. You won't see this information anywhere else. I created this table for you to give you detail behind the videos that we're watching. This is my research to support the videos that I'm showing you. Cuba, ongoing severe fuel crisis from U.S. oil blockade, which started in January 29, 2026. Nationwide blackouts, collapse health services, increased mortality rates, diplomatic talks with U.S. ongoing. Cuba has released thousands of prisoners as a gesture, no deal yet. Venezuela's impacted by global oil price fluctuations. U.S. has increased influence over parts of Venezuela oil access. And then we have market exceptions on oil prices. Sharp drop 4% on announcement. Expected increased global supply once Strait fully opens. Demining will take time. Global shipping, rapid recovery expected in the Straits of Hormuz. Traffic, normally 20% of the world oil tankers already started moving. Broader markets positive for stocks, especially energy consumers and shipping. Reduce geopolitical risk premium. Double tap, hit the like button. Y'all know I love bringing y'all this real shit, man. Y'all know I love bringing y'all this real shit, man. It's one thing to look good, because I do look good. I got my soccer jersey on today. I was excited to wear my USA Emirates soccer jersey today. So, you know, I do look good. I got my USA Emirates soccer. I got the stars and stripes. You know, I'm excited whenever it's red, white, and blue, stars and stripes. I'm excited about the deal. I'm excited because I paid such a good price for gas today when I filled up my wife's SUV. I'm excited because yesterday was Trump's birthday, and I'm a fan of President Trump. He turned 80 years old, and he's already in the G7. Trump turned 80 years old, and he got on the plane. He had a birthday. He was up all night long. Then he got on the plane to go do work. I don't think Biden or anybody else would do something like that. Donald Trump was up all night last night, and then he went to the G7. This is Donald Trump. President Trump confirms Iran isn't getting a dime in any sanctions. This is President Trump at the G7 talking Iran deal. And you see right next to him, that's the president of France, Macron. So a lot of times I'm mentioning Starmer and Macron, and I wonder how many people actually know who I'm talking about. This is Macron. He is the president of France. He's sitting adjacent to Trump as Trump takes questions about the Iran deal. You're watching the #1 podcast on YouTube. You're watching the #1 podcast on YouTube for political and geopolitical debate, and we do our damn big one here, giving you guys the information that you deserve to make sure that you understand what's going on, so you're an intelligent electorate. Double tap at the like button.
No, it doesn't. Well, they have to. It's really a behavioral thing. If they do what they're supposed to do, that starts taking effect.
Monsieur Macron, quel engagement êtes-vous prêt à prendre au nom de la France for Iran? When would that go into effect?
No, it doesn't. Well, they have to. It's really a behavioral thing. If they do what they're supposed to do, that starts taking effect.
Monsieur Macron, quel engagement êtes-vous prêt à prendre au nom de la France for Iran? When would that go into effect?
No, it doesn't. Well,
double tap at the like button. There's so much to unpack here. It's so much to unpack here. Let's keep going with the facts on the ground. Some people was talking about let's go to Scott. This is one of my brothers, but somebody y'all want to see that JD Vance. JD Vance debunked it a lot. And JD Vance is looking so presidential, right? JD Vance is looking so presidential. I'm so proud that JD Vance is on our side, right? I'm so proud that JD Vance is on our side. He's looking presidential. He's looking ready for 2028. JD Vance is looking ready for 2028, straight up. And he answers so many questions that people have, because people are speculating about the deal, what the parameters are. And let me get my brother from another mother, man. I got a JD Vance for you. Let me get my brother from another mother, man. Let me get my brother from another mother, man. JD, baby. Trump said JD, and how do you beat? And I agree. Trump said, how do you beat JD and Marco Rubio in 2028? Can I get JD, Marco Rubio in 2028? So let's listen to the vice president, next president of the United States, answer some questions for the chat. The chat has some questions. I'm going to play this video to help you out. I've been reading my tables. I've been giving you guys details of the agreement, but it's also good to hear from the horse's mouth. Let's hear from JD Vance and let him answer a couple questions for the naysayers in the chat.
Walk through some of this. The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon. So I think the dance you're going to see, Ed, which is going to be interesting, is the Iranian media, especially the hardline media, they're going to talk a lot about what they get without talking about what they give. It's important for all of us to correct that record.
Y'all got that? It's important for us to correct the record. JD Vance correcting the record for the people in the back. For the people in the back, one more time, JD Vance, looking presidential. Let's be honest, look at that red tie. He got the president tie on.
Walk through some of this. The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation.
So there was speculation in the chat about America giving Iran $300 billion. We ain't giving Iran shit. I done played numerous videos. There is a coalition of people in the Middle East who have business interests in Iran, who probably will loan Iran money to rebuild on the pretense that they get something out of it, right? It ain't got shit to do with American taxpayer dollars. That's the first thing JD Vance debunked for you player headers in the chat. Double tap at the like button. Iran deal on the table.
I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits.
So you will hear Democrats overemphasize the $300 billion and anything that Iran could potentially get, but they will underemphasize the fact that Iran will have to give up all of the uranium. And what else did I say? All of the uranium. And what else does Trump want? Let's read it together. Zero enrichment and demands the dismantling of Iran's nuclear centrifuge infrastructure. So it's not only that Trump is demanding all of the yellow cake, zero enrichment, but Trump wants all of the technology and the machines and infrastructure that they used under Obama, who allowed a low level of uranium enrichment up to 3.6. The problem with the Obama deal, this is what no one understands even in the chat. The problem with the Obama deal, hello, everybody in the chat. The problem with the Obama deal is in order to enrich uranium to 3.67%, you need, drum roll please, in order to enrich uranium to 3.67%, you need, what do you need, chat? Can anybody want to tell the dummies what you need? You need nuclear centrifuge and structure, the same shit you need to create a nuclear bomb. So Barack Obama allowed them the technology, the infrastructure, and the machines and the means to create a nuclear bomb. Hello, is this microphone on? Your king of Wakanda allowed them the ability, the technology, the machinery, and the yellow cake. Do we need to go back to the video? Do we need to go back to the video where the brother broke down the yellow cake? Because I played a great video of the brother breaking down the yellow cake and why the deals are so different. The deals are different because Barack Obama allowed them to proliferate and make yellow cake. And the process to get the yellow cake and the uranium is the same. The process to get the yellow cake and the uranium is the same process one would need to create a nuclear bomb. And we have stopped that under President Trump. Huge difference.
So let's go out to Aisha Hasni, is in Geneva. President Trump makes his way there after a few hours of sleep, perhaps, because there was a little incident. There was a little fun on the White House lawn. And now he's off to the G7 to meet you, Aisha.
I was going to say, he might actually still be awake watching you guys in this coverage here. But yes, he is heading here to Switzerland. He'll land here in Geneva sometime today. And he is landing here in a very interesting situation because remember, all of the G7 leaders, none of them supported this Iranian conflict. They pushed and pushed for diplomacy. And now the president can come here and see them face to face and say, look, what I got them to agree to. In the meantime, though, the European leaders have two other issues on top of mind outside of reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The president took off overnight from Joint Base Andrews, and there is a lot on the table as soon as he arrives in Evian-les-Bains in France. We are told that he will address economic growth, illegal immigration, and artificial intelligence, among other things. He also is going to meet one-on-one with the leaders of Egypt and Qatar and the UAE on the sidelines of the summit this week. But the Russia war against Ukraine and the Gaza rebuilding is on top of mind for these G7 leaders. In fact, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted on X yesterday that he spoke with President Trump on his birthday, and he had one wish for him, that we may finally achieve peace, he said, and achieve this success together with the U.S. and all of our partners. He says the two men will discuss more at this summit. Now, security is very, very high here in the area around Evian. Some 16,000 French police and troops are deployed in that area over the weekend here in Geneva. Shops and hotels that were boarded up, protests kicked off. The AP reports the French and Swiss are actually bringing back pandemic-like border restrictions amid fears of violence. You'll remember back in 2003, violent protesters smashed storefronts during the G8 summit. The president, of course.
Now, keep in mind, Belfast also is on fire. When MAGA talks about we not supporting NATO, when I talk about Macron and Starmer, this is why. Belfast is on fire. France is on fire. Europe and the UK can't get on the same page. Why would we be involved in European politics if this is the state of the culture right now? It is appropriate for America to back out and let Europe take care of its problems and not waste American dollars if they can't even figure out how to get along themselves. And also, you guys, this makes them extremely vulnerable to Russia. This is why we talk a lot about who tricked Trump into going to Iran. You know what we never talk about? Who tricked Biden into going into Ukraine. So there's this fictitious number, 300 billion, floating around about Iran, but there is no fictitious number about Ukraine. We spent over 300 billion. It's gone. The fucking money is gone. In LA, a whole neighborhood burnt down. Karen Bass sent 9 fire engines to the Ukraine. That's never fucking talked about. When LA burnt down, how many people know that Los Angeles Fire, in order to support Biden and to support the efforts in the Ukraine, sent 9 engines to the fucking Ukraine? So when you talk about a fictitious 300 billion floating above the Iranians, let's talk about the 300 billion spent in the Ukraine. Who tricked Biden into going into the Ukraine? What the fuck did America benefit from the $300 billion spent in the Russia conflict in the Ukraine? Let's talk about the Azov Battalion, neo-Nazi football hooligans who were created and trained by the Americans and made military. What about the leader of the Azov Brigade, neo-Nazi leader who said he wants a race war, who was allowed to join the parliament of the Ukraine, who we support financially and militarily, all under Biden? Let's have a talk. So who tricked Biden? Who tricked Biden? Who set up Biden? Who tricked Biden into going into Ukraine? And we're still there. Can we just have a real talk this morning? We're still spending fucking money as we talk about. This is the thing about the Democrats. It's so hard to talk to them because the TDS is so fucking thick. We're still in the Ukraine, dum-dums. We're still spending money in the Ukraine, dum-dums. Just in Munich, Hillary Clinton was in Munich. I don't know why Hillary Clinton, she's not in office. She's not running for office. Be that as it may. Hillary Clinton was at the Munich Security Council, the same place that started the fucking war, where Kamala said that the Ukraine gets to be part of NATO, when Putin said that was a red fucking line. But just a month ago, Hillary Clinton is at the Munich Security Council saying, give the Ukraine tomahawks, i.e. more money. Money, 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 money. Money! How much to date have we spent in the Ukraine? You motherfuckers never be honest. You motherfuckers never be honest. Who tricked us into going into the Ukraine, using the Ukraine as a proxy to fight a war against Russia, who's actually a nuclear power? Iran is not a nuclear power. Could have got us in a nuclear war fucking around in the Ukraine. Spent over $300 billion, and we're still there. But France is on fire because we went there to protect our European brothers. We went there to protect our European brothers. But France is on fire. Belfast is on fire. You have Brexit in the EU and the UK. So what's really going on in geopolitics if you're paying attention?
Says there will be that he spoke with President Trump on his birthday and he had one wish.
I want to answer, who tricked us into going into Ukraine? Zelensky has been president since 2014. Zelensky has been president since 2014 when Barack Obama was president and Biden was vice president. I argue Biden helped install Zelensky because his son was on Burisma's board and they were doing dirty deals, doing Biden mafia shit in Ukraine. They were doing Biden mafia shit in the Ukraine. Zelensky's been there since 2014, over 10 years. Is he a president? Is he a dictator? Is he a king? What the fuck is Zelensky? So we've been spending how much money in the Ukraine? You have to talk about Iran in context. You have to talk about Iran in context. Russia invaded the Ukraine under Biden. Biden didn't do shit. Iran invaded Israel under Biden. Biden didn't do shit. How much money was spent? I just had to throw that out there because y'all full of shit.
For him that we may finally achieve peace, he said, and achieve this success together with the U.S. and all of our partners. He says the two men will discuss more at this summit. Now, security is very, very high here in the area around Evian. Some 16,000 French police and troops are deployed in that area over the weekend here in Geneva. Shops and hotels that were boarded up, protests kicked off. The AP reports the French and Swiss are actually bringing back pandemic-like border restrictions amid fears of violence. You'll remember back in 2003, violent protesters smashed storefronts during the G8 summit. The president, of course, says there will be a signing here in Geneva of that.
Oh, that's a great question. How many men are left in the Ukraine? How many people died in the Ukraine? That's W chat. Ooh, I love my chat room. I love my chat room. How many people are dying a day in the Ukraine? Going back to when Biden allowed this thing to proliferate. But we never talk about that. Maybe we don't care about the people in Ukraine. Who is that? Always? I don't think they care about we already know Democrats don't care about victims. Do you know there were elderly people and women on the front line in the Ukraine who died? Because they didn't have enough young men. You guys remember there were elderly people and women on the front line in the Ukraine who had to sacrifice because they did not have enough young men. Excellent chat. Thank you, chat. W chat.
On a framework agreement. The vice president told Fox News last night that he plans to be here, but in fact, it might be President Trump that attends this signing. Brian?
Well,
Right. So this is what I said. If you're new here, I understand why Macron and Starmer were worried about Russia. So when I say who tricked us into fighting Russia via the proxy Ukrainian army Azov Brigade, you understand what I'm saying? I get why Macron and Starmer are worried. They can't even stick together as a European Union. So they're open for Russia to come in. Yeah, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. And why doesn't it apply to European? Is it because Europe is white? it makes sense for Starmer and Macron to be worried about Russia. It never made sense for Americans to give a fuck. There is no more Red Scare. We don't have to fear communism. We want to be partners with Russia. Russia wants to be partners with America. Russia doesn't want a war with America. Neither does China. All of this bullshit from the Cold War, all of this baby boomer silent generation bullshit is dead. OPEC is dead. The fear of China is dead. The fear of Russia is dead. But MAGA and conservatives, we do understand why Europe, because they haven't militarized, they haven't invested, they've depended on America, why Europe would be afraid of Russia and Russia's needs demographically going forward. But what the fuck does that have to do with America? And that's what America First is all about. And that's what Europe and Macron and Starmer is pissed about, because Americans are waking up to the fact that you guys set us up in the Ukraine. Americans are waking up to the fact that we don't benefit. Americans are learning, yeah, Starmer and Macron and France, you need to fear Putin and Russia proliferation. Americans don't. And we spent all this money, and when we wanted to go to Iran, they did not have our back. We supplied them troops. We trained the Azov battalion. We spent $300 billion to protect who? What did we get? We did that to protect Europe. We did that to protect France, our friends, our allies. And when we needed them, they said no. America gets nothing from the conflict of Ukraine. But you know what's so beautiful about Trump? The peace agreement that will stop the war in the Ukraine. Now listen to this, because it's the echo of what's going on with Iran. The peace agreement that's going to stop the war is bilateral. And remember, I said to you, the agreement for Trump and Iran is bilateral. This is why Starmer and Macron is pissed at America, because the peace talks between Russia and the Ukraine are between America and Russia, and it does not include France, it does not include Europe, and they don't like that. They want to be at the table. The peace talks between Iran is bilateral between the US and Iran, unlike the Obama deal. What you have on your screen is the Obama administration, JCPOA. This was a multilateral deal. Trump's deal today is direct and bilateral between the US and Iran. It's the same with the Russia deal. Steve Wilkoff and Jared Kushner are the ones who are working on the deal. We were in Abu Dhabi and we were close to a deal, but Starmer and Macron gave Zelensky missiles and started bombing Russian infrastructure because they went behind America's back and our interests are not aligned. You may not know this. You may not know this. They went behind America's back because our interests are not aligned. They don't care about us. They don't care about us. It has to be America first. It has to be America first. Double tap, hit the like button. We talking about the Trump-Iran deal. I want to hear from you in the chat.
Non-military purposes. Former President Obama casting doubt on how it's different from his own deal.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place and had worked for a long stretch of time before the United States pulled out of it.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen. Mark, I would say this to the former president's point. The difference is that the president dismantled their military in full.
Yeah.
Of course, you got some missiles still left, and it takes away the uranium that is there. So I would say that's the key difference, right?
Well, first of all, it's the exact same deal except for 14,000 military strikes that buried their entire nuclear program under rubble so deep that the Iranians have told us that they actually can't get to it. If we want the nuclear dust, we're going to have to come in and get it. Destroyed 82% of their defense industrial base, sunk their entire navy, grounded their entire air force, and also, by the way, the Ayatollah Khamenei, Qasem Soleimani, and like the top two tiers of their leadership are dead. But other than that, it's exactly like the Obama nuclear deal.
Other it's the same, you guys. Other than that, it's the same deal. Double tap hit the like button, man.
So let's go out to Aisha Hasni, who's in Geneva. President Trump makes
Trump is in the G7 in Geneva, making money, making deals. King of New York.
his way there after a few hours of sleep, perhaps, because there was a little incident. There was a little fun on the White House lawn. And now he's off to the G7 to meet you, Aisha.
I was going to say, he might actually still be awake watching you guys in this coverage here. But yes, he is heading here to Switzerland. He'll land here in Geneva sometime today. And he is landing here in a very interesting situation because remember, all of the G7 leaders, none of them supported this Iranian conflict. They pushed and pushed for diplomacy. And now the president can come here and see them face to face and say, look, what I got them to agree to. In the meantime, though, the European leaders have two other issues on top of mind outside of reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The president took off overnight from Joint Base Andrews, and there is a lot on the table as soon as he arrives in Evian-les-Bains in France. We are told that he will address economic growth, illegal immigration, and artificial intelligence, among other things. He also is going to meet one-on-one with the leaders of Egypt and Qatar and the UAE on the sidelines of the summit this week. But the Russia war against Ukraine and the Gaza rebuilding is on top of mind for these G7 leaders. In fact, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted on X yesterday that he spoke with President Trump on his birthday, and he had one wish for him, that we may finally achieve peace, he said, and achieve this success together with the U.S. and all of our partners. He says the two men will discuss more at this summit. Now, security is very, very high here in the area around Evian. Some 16,000 French police and troops are deployed in that area. Over the weekend here in Geneva, shops and hotels that were boarded up, protests kicked off. The AP reports the French and Swiss are actually bringing back pandemic-like border restrictions amid fears of violence. You'll remember back in 2003, violent protesters smashed storefronts during the G8 summit. The president, of course, says there will be a signing here in Geneva of that Iran framework agreement. The vice president told Fox News last night that he plans to be here, but in fact, it might be President Trump that attends this signing. Brian?
Well, thanks so much, Aisha. A lot going on, and there's a lot of unscripted conversations. Where have the other guys been during this entire conflict? And also, where do we go from here? I love the way everyone's chiming in, like, we're ready to help now. Thanks. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance was on over the weekend. He's making the rounds not only for his book, but he's leading negotiations. And many people think he will sign off on this deal if it's ready to go over the next few days.
Yeah, and he did say we're still trying to work out the arrangements. He said, I'll either be going. I'm planning to go. The president himself might go too. But he did want to thank the American people for being patient. Listen.
I guess my primary message to the American people is thank you. Because of your patience, I think that we've solved the problem that has plagued this country again for well before I was even born, which is a terrorist supporting Iran that was pursuing a nuclear weapon. We are now at a place here where we can say with confidence they're not going to get a nuclear weapon. This is just a great thing for the American people. I know that they've suffered from high gas prices. The president has certainly been very concerned about that fact. But what we're going to be able to do is drive down the cost of energy, not just now, but for the long term, and create a real engine of prosperity in the Middle East where Americans benefit from those lower energy prices, lower gas prices, and we don't have the same risk of chaos that we've had for the last generation.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? One more time for Red Wizard. Red Wizard, one more time, Red Wizard. J.D. Vance is going to be president. J.D. Vance is going to be president, and he's doing such a great job. J.D. Vance is going to be president. I'm super proud of him. He's doing a great job. One more time for Red Wizard. One more time for Red Wizard, J.D. Vance, 2028, President of the United States. Let's go.
Has plagued this country again for well before I was even born.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance was on over the weekend. He's making the rounds not only for his book, but he's leading negotiations. And many people think he will sign off on this deal if it's ready to go over the next few days.
Yeah, and he did say we're still trying to work out the arrangements. He said, I'll either be going. I'm planning to go. The president himself might go too. But he did want to thank the American people for being patient. Listen.
I guess my primary message to the American people is thank you. Because of your patience, I think that we've solved a problem that has plagued this country again for well before I was even born, which is a terrorist supporting Iran that was pursuing a nuclear weapon. We are now at a place here where we can say with confidence they're not going to get a nuclear weapon. This is just a great thing for the American people. I know that they've suffered from high gas prices. The president has certainly been very concerned about that fact. But what we're going to be able to do is drive down the cost of energy, not just now, but for the long term, and create a real engine of prosperity in the Middle East where Americans benefit from those lower energy prices, lower gas prices, and we don't have the same risk of chaos that we've had for the last generation.
Yeah, it's obviously something that we've talked about on the program a lot. That
was a big list. That was a big list. J.D. Vance is only 40-something years old. They've been waging war against us for 47 years. J.D. Vance says, I've had to live under fear of Iran my entire life. Iran has taken American hostages. Iran, via its proxies, have killed American soldiers over and over again for the past 47 years. In my chat, they put down that they declared war against Americans. Well, that's called a jihad. For the person in my chat that said Iran declared war against America right before our invasion, Iran declared war on America 47 years ago. It's called a jihad. It's called a jihad. Hello. J.D. Vance is doing a great job because he knows the questions that everyday Americans have, especially from the young person's perspective. Young people want to know, why did we go there and what did we get? What is the benefit? And J.D. Vance just laid it out, bullet point. What did we go there for? What did we get? You have a safer America. It is so much. It is so great when someone understands. I want to hear that one more time. J.D. Vance, break down for the American people why we went there and what Americans gained.
Of your patience, I think that we've solved the problem that has plagued this country again for well before I was even born.
J.D. Vance said, we solved the problem that plagued the country well before I was born. Over 47 years, they have threatened a war against Americans. It's called a jihad.
Which is a terrorist supporting Iran that was pursuing a nuclear weapon. We are now at a place here where we can say with confidence they're not going to get a nuclear weapon. This is just a great
That's one. They're not going to get a nuclear weapon.
Thing for the American people. I know that they've suffered from high gas prices. The president has certainly been very concerned about that fact. But what we're going to be able to do is drive down the cost of energy, not just now, but for the long term.
So we're going to be able to drive down the cost of energy, not just now, but for the long term. Don't forget about the resurgence of the petrodollar, the UAE leaving OPEC.
Create a real engine of prosperity in the Middle East where Americans benefit from those lower energy prices, lower gas prices, and we don't have the same risk of chaos that we've had for the last.
So Americans benefit. How many remember the oil in the 70s? Some of you are young, so you don't know about OPEC. And OPEC and what OPEC had been able to do with their price fixing cartel. But OPEC caused a gas shortage in the 70s. So what this does is take us off the teat. Right. And also you got to give Trump props for drill, baby, drill. Right. But this changes the way that the OPEC in the Middle East had power over everybody else in the globe because of the oil. This shifts the power back to the Americans. I'm so proud to be an American today. I'm so proud. Happy birthday, Trump.
Last generation.
Yeah, it's obviously something that we've talked about on the program a lot. The Iranians did not have a great military to go against us. And so the only weapon that they could use is to impact the global oil supply. Now, the administration was able to take some of that oil and reroute it, but there was some impact on the American people. The way I look at this deal is you got the president of the United States that's essentially putting Iran in a cage. They're in a cage. He has disrupted the nuclear program. The military is destroyed. We've gone through what happened to their Navy. The question is, and I'm not so worried about under his administration right now, because I believe they understand who they're dealing with. He's gotten the Arab world on this side. The Gulf states is on our sides right now. So they understand that they don't want to try anything with him. The question is, who's the next president after him? And will they make sure that they keep certain measures in place to keep Iran in that that cage.
That's
And we don't know who that is
so
yet.
important. Yeah, the tentative deal with Iran, it's already sent stocks soaring. The oil prices we showed you on your screen, the oil prices fell more than $4 a barrel. And they're saying, the analysts are saying it might take months to completely stabilize. But the news of this deal, it's a huge relief for all markets across the world. Stocks are rallying in Asia already. The Nikkei gained 5%.
Right. So we'll see what happens. J.D. Vance, who's pretty well known, was not for this conflict. I mean, for the most part, he had a lower profile for a while, but now he's moving forward to try to bring it to a close. We don't know anything about ballistic missiles yet, and we don't know about funding proxies. I don't know if that's going to be part of this deal. So he's going to be coming up with us, talking about his new book and more.
Vance for president, put it in the chat. Vance for president. Vance for president, put it in the chat. Marco Rubio, I think it's going to be Rubio Vance. And like Trump said, it's almost impossible to beat Rubio Vance. Marco Rubio at the G7 talking about France and echoing what I've said about France, NATO, and the EU and the UK. Double tap at the like button.
I'm here on behalf of the United States of America. I look forward to meeting with them. I don't know what reception I would get from them. I think they should be happy that I'm going. Well, now we don't have to go.
They might be happy, but they're not happy with what's going on.
Well, again, I'm not there to make them happy. I get along with all of them on a personal level. We work with those governments very carefully, but the people I'm interested in making happy are the people of the United States. That's who I work for. I don't work for France or Germany or Japan. These are all good people. We're going to have great meetings. But I work for them. I'm here on behalf of the United States of America. I look forward to
Marco Rubio responding to Macron because France was talking shit. France was talking shit, and Rubio is saying I hope they happy I'm here because I'm going to be the next president. And Marco Rubio said, I don't work for France. I don't work for Macron. I love that. I'm telling you, Marco Rubio, if you wanted my vote, boy, just keep saying the same things, Marco Rubio. Keep talking that talk.
Cette taxe numérique, les Européens l'ont décidé, plusieurs pays l'ont mise en œuvre, elle fait partie de notre droit. Ce n'est pas les États-Unis qui décident pour le droit des Européens ni des Français. C'est normal et ça ne se passera pas différemment, en tout cas tant que je serai là. Donc on aura une discussion respectueuse mais ferme, qui consistera à dire voilà comment les choses se passent. Vous aussi, vous avez mis des tarifs là qui sont plus élevés que ce qu'on vous impose, il faut les régler. Et cette menace, on la connaît. D'ailleurs, à Biarritz, au moment du G7 en 2019, on les avait à peu près les mêmes. Bon. Donc on va, cette taxe numérique, les Européens l'ont décidé.
So he talking shit, talking about America won't decide for France and then hearkening back to 29, all this bullshit. It's not the United States who decides what constitutes the law for we Europeans. This is what Macron is saying. This is supposed to be our friend and ally. Macron, leader of France, this is Macron. That's why Marco Rubio was saying, I hope Macron is my friend, but I don't work for France. Macron and France, this is what I'll be talking about when I talk about NATO and the changing, polarizing of geopolitics. It is not the United States who decides what constitutes law for we Europeans. He was speaking from G7, and after Trump threatened France with 100% tariffs on its wine unless it scraps 3% tax on U.S. tech giants like Google, Apple, and Meta. Macron took aim at the pressure directly. Tariffs are of no use to anybody, including the United States. The summit clearly off to a friendly start. Shit. Scott Bessent at the G7. Scott Bessent at the G7. G7 right now, off to a great start. Off to a great start. There go Macron again. There go Macron again. Who is this? Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney insinuates that Canadians may have to give up their sovereignty because he plans to work with globalists at the G7 to bring Canada into the New World Order. Now, how many people even knew that the old Prime Minister of Canada was going, what was his name? Trudeau? And this is the new guy, and this guy don't get along with Trump. Let's listen to them.
Is there a prospect at all at this meeting for even the beginnings of a sense of what a new order might look like? I mean, I'm conscious of the old Antonio Gramsci quote that the old world is dead, but the new one cannot yet be born. Are we still in that phase? Is it too much to hope for just some strands of possibility and opportunity in France?
Yes, possibly.
Certainly, here's a safe answer. The strands of that new order yet to be born could be woven in Evian, which is the G7, and maybe I'll justify that.
Is there a prospect at all at this meeting for even the beginnings of a sense of what a new order might look like? I mean, I'm conscious of the old Antonio Gramsci quote that the old world is dead, but the new one cannot yet be born. Are we still in that phase? Is it too much to hope for just some strands of possibility and opportunity in France?
Yes, possibly. Certainly, here's a safe answer. The strands of that new order yet to be born could be woven.
Do y'all understand what's going on in geopolitics? They are being forced. Do you hear how he timidly answers the question? Because they realize the world is changing. And what they're talking about with the New World Order is what America no longer willing to be the protectors of Europe and NATO. They're going to have to militarize. This is what people have been talking about. What you going to do, Spain? What you going to do, Europe? What you going to do, UK? What you going to do, France? Are you going to spend the money to develop nuclear weapons? Are you going to spend the money on a nuclear program? Somebody said earlier, how many men did the Ukraine have? How many men did France have? Small country. How many men does the Europe and UK have? Small countries. Do they have soldiers? Do they have the means and the money? How long will it take them to militarize and to be able to protect themselves? When you hear them talking about a new world order, I hope you understand what they're talking about and why it's so serious. It's serious for them. This fact's on the ground. It's serious for them. With America backing out, with America having a new, now the monarchy, there's a lot changing. The monarchy is no longer in the parliament. The monarchy is no longer in the parliament. The queen has died. I believe the monarchy and Europe will never be the same again. The monarchy in Europe will never be the same again. So there is, and if that changes the relationship between Canada. Trump has already said different things about Canada. That changes the relationship between Canada, right? And Europe, because Canada is a proxy of Europe. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to discuss. We're talking about the Iran peace deal. Let's keep going with the Iran peace deal. Just then, Vice President J.D. Vance announced it. They agreed to Trump-Iran peace deal, blocks Iran from ever pursuing, obtaining nuclear weapon, immediately reopens the Straits of Hormuz, lifts U.S. blockade, opens up huge investment for the region.
I think it's a big moment for the United States of America, thanks, of course, to the president's leadership and the hard work of the entire team. Three things that I think are important for the American people just to appreciate about what this deal does for all of us as Americans. Number one, this is the immediate opening of the Straits of Hormuz and, of course, the lifting of the naval blockade that we've had on Iran along with it. The number two thing that it means is that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and not just pursue a nuclear weapon, but procure or try to buy a nuclear weapon as well. That's built into this agreement. And then the third thing is, and this only happens, to be clear, if Iran delivers on their promise. And so there's an approach here where we verify and where there are real benefits so long as Iran meets their end of the obligation. But if the Iranians comply with this deal, it is going to fundamentally transform the Middle East for the next 50 years. It's going to end the war. It's going to make the Middle East more investable. It's going to mean a lot of prospects. First of all, I think it's a big moment for the United States of America. Thanks, of course.
It's not only a big moment for America, it's a big moment for Vance. It's a big moment for Vance. It's a big moment for America. Yeah, man. It's a big moment for all of us. Double tap, hit the like button. It's a big moment for America. It's a big moment for all of us. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Iran peace agreement. Iran peace agreement.
The president writing on Truth Social yesterday that the terms of the deal to end the 3-month conflict involve Iran agreeing to not having and not moving to procure a nuclear weapon today or in the future. and a complete opening of the Strait of Hormuz. The president says at a point in the future and at the appropriate time, the U.S. will then retrieve the remaining uranium and destroy it, that is the nuclear dust, in Iran when all is calm after the deal is signed and in place. Sources close to the talks told me once Iran shows it is acting in good faith and proving the above is implemented, then and only at that time, the U.S. will begin to unlock the U.S. sanctions in place against Iran and begin to help Iran get reintegrated back into the global economy. This after the president announced on Friday that the U.S. took out the leader of the notorious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, with a swift and lethal kinetic strike. The U.S. labeled Tren de Aragua a terrorist organization, which the Trump administration says is at the root of violence and illegal human and drug trafficking here in America. President Trump is set to travel to France tomorrow for the start of the G7 summit, where the Iran deal, as well as trade and tariffs, will be on the agenda. Joining me now with more on all of this breaking news developments is the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Michael Waltz. Ambassador, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Maria, and happy birthday to the Army, happy Flag Day, and happy birthday to President Trump.
Absolutely. Let's talk about what could be an incredible birthday present for this president, and that is a potential deal with Iran. Do you believe something will be signed today? What can you tell us? Because I know that Israel and the Lebanon arm of this has created some complications.
Well, sure. The president has every intent that this deal get signed, move forward. I'll leave it to our great vice president and his team for the actual details. But as you mentioned, Hezbollah is attacking Israel. We know there's some hardliners in Iran that are not fans of the concessions Iran's making here. So it's incredibly complicated, and I'll leave it to them to actually announce when they'll sign on the dotted line. But there is every intent that we move forward with the president's vision, and he's been very clear on this for many decades. Iran cannot and will not have a nuclear weapon, and they cannot and will not hold the world's economies hostage with sea mines, attacking shipping, and trying to charge tolls in violation of many international agreements and international law.
Yeah, and I was on a call yesterday where we got the details in terms of the vice president, J.D. Vance, talking about where we are in this. And I guess many of the questions that I had revolved around how we will verify that Iran keeps its promises, Ambassador. So what can you tell us in terms of what the plans are to ensure that Iran keeps its promise not to procure a nuclear weapon, not to support terrorist organizations? Is it just knowing that the Strait of Hormuz is open? Is that one of the important levers to unleash these, take away these sanctions? Or is it something else in terms of verification that you could talk about?
Well, there are two fundamental changes from the horrible Obama deal, right? One is the verification regime. Under the JCPOA, under Obama's deal, there was not anytime, anywhere verification. They could determine or even delay the inspectors. And most importantly, they could just call a site a military site, and then it was off limits. You're absolutely right. This is all about, there is no trust. There is all about verify, number one. And then number two, you're not going to see these pallets of cash moving up front. It is going to be pay for performance. And oh, by the way, you have to come to a UN Security Council resolution that we snapped back to in terms of lifting sanctions on the Iranian economy. And then finally, Maria, the blockade, this is a huge difference from the past. President Trump's blockade has been enormously effective. This is why you see the regime practically begging for access to any type of economic lifeline. But again, they're not going to get it until they live up to their end of the bargain. So President Trump knows how to drive a deal. And unlike his predecessors, he's got the great United States military and very effective actions by Secretary Scott Bessent to keep a foot on the neck of the regime's economy. So all of those things have me incredibly confident that we're going to continue to bargain and negotiate from a position of strength.
And I know one of the biggest mistakes that Iran made was attacking their Gulf neighbors. And these relations with our Gulf neighbors, like the UAE and the Saudis, have become stronger. The relations with the United States have become stronger throughout this entire conflict. You recently met with the leadership of the UAE. What did you learn in terms of next steps from our Gulf neighbors in the region? They want Iran to be defanged.
Absolutely, Maria. I was able to really sit down with the Crown Prince of Bahrain, who hosts our Fifth Fleet, and has just been a fantastic ally despite the hits they took, and the president of UAE, and they are standing shoulder to shoulder with us. They've already repaired the damage that Iran inflicted, and I think it was a fundamental and fantastic strategic mistake on the regime's part to lash out at the Gulf Arabs like they have. They have seen Iran's true colors, and they are standing with us in a way that I've never seen in my lifetime. And, oh, by the way, now because of the Abraham Accords, we're seeing a security architecture move in place with Israel, aligned.
I love that he iterated the Abraham Accords, because I did a lot of deep dive on the Abraham Accords, and a lot of news channels that talk about the Iran conflict conveniently leave out the Abraham Accords and how it shifted protection in the region and leverage, right? Double tap at the like button. Donald Trump, 4D chess. 4D chess in the chat. A lot of people don't even know about the changes to the Abraham Accords
against this regime, and this is a huge step forward.
Yeah, and you have been leading the fight at the UN. I want to get your take on China and Russia, Ambassador, because I know that they have been supporting Iran in all of this, even as China says it has not. Do you believe that those two nations are becoming more isolated on Iran, or do they still represent a support system for Iran?
Well, Maria, case in point, and this is where diplomacy can be.
Let me go into some wonk real quick, because I like that he brought up the Abraham Accords. I don't think enough people talk enough about what Trump did to the Abraham Accords. Now, keep in mind, we do understand that the Abraham Accords are not new, right? Trump has pivoted his Abraham Accord strategy by weaponizing the original voluntary agreement. Double tap at the like button. Let's get into the wonkosphere. You know we like the wonk over here. Get you some details. By voluntary agreements, mandatory conditions for peace in the Middle East. He demands that additional countries sign onto the accords as part of any negotiated settlement to end the U.S.-Israel conflict. Key changes: expanded signatories. Trump declared that it should be mandatory for major regional players, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan, to simultaneously sign the Abraham Accords. He has even floated the prospect of Iran eventually joining. Leverage strategy. Unlike the first administration, where normalization was treated as a shared aspiration, Trump is now using the accords as a poison pill or strict precondition in current peace negotiations with Iran. Kazakhstan. Trump successfully secured the Kazakhstan to the accords, significantly expanding the coalition of Muslim majority nations participating in the initiative. State Department efforts. Just give y'all some background, because I like the fact that he brought up the Abraham Accords, and a lot of people don't know about the changes that Trump made and the demands that Trump is making with the Abraham Accords to reinforce this deal in Iran. It's a lot going on behind this deal. It's a lot going on behind this deal that people don't know about, so I got to give you the wonk. Double tap at the like button.
So effective with this president. The Chinese have expressed immense frustration at Iran's illegal attempts to toll shipping, including their shipping.
Yeah.
It came up in the president's summit with Xi. It's come up in subsequent calls and in these international forums. And again, the Gulf Arabs have told the Russians, you better choose wisely here. And so far, they have not been. So this diplomatic isolation with a UN record of 143 nations saying what Iran is doing and trying to hold the global economy is illegal, it's in violation of international law, and they won't stand for it, I think has been an incredibly important piece to keeping Iran isolated and saying, you need to live up to your commitments in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and elsewhere to never have a nuke. And not only, have they threatened to use it, one, they could hand it to their terrorist proxies, two, and the entire region would explode in a nuclear arms race. This is why this president's stand now is so critical for future generations and for global stability.
Ambassador, what do you want to say about this most recent and biggest concern now that Lebanon could become the spoiler to this broader agreement between the U.S. and Iranian diplomatic efforts? We know that Hezbollah launched projectiles and drone attacks into northern Israel over the weekend. Israel responded with its own strikes in southern Lebanon and Beirut. Where do we stand here?
Well, I think two things, Maria. Number one, we will always support Israel's right to defend itself. And Hezbollah continues to attack neighborhoods, schools, and to launch rockets indiscriminately into Israel. But importantly, for the first time, and again, under this president and his leadership, the Lebanese government is sitting down in the room with the Israelis and really taking important steps to finally rid Lebanon of the cancer that is Hezbollah. The Iranians are trying to link the two. We are delinking the two and trying to and doing everything we can to support Israel's right to defend itself. But it also move forward with a diplomatic process so that we can hopefully see peace in the region. And oh, by the way, Syria is an incredibly important component of this as well. And Iran is now out of Syria too.
Real quick, do you believe Hezbollah is acting independently, or is it acting as part of Iran's broader effort to get leverage here?
Look, I don't think Hezbollah does much at all without Iran's explicit support and okay. So this is all about its terrorist proxies. And the last thing we should have.
Double tap hit the like button. #1 podcast on YouTube. Did you guys vote in the poll? Let's go to Jillian Michaels. Did you guys vote in the poll? Did you watch the UFC? Let's go to Jillian Michaels. Let's go to the UFC. Let's say, can I get happy birthday, Trump? Happy 80th birthday in the chat. Double tap hit the like button. Happy birthday, Trump. Happy 80th birthday. Let's go to Jillian Michaels. She got something to say about Barack Obama and the Democrats and how they use race. Now, I talk about the Democrats a lot and how the Democrats use race. We talk about that a lot here. And I've talked today about Barack Obama. We've talked about the UFC comments compared to the geopolitical news. And I want to hear from you in the comments. I want to hear from you in the chat. I want to see you vote in the poll. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Now let's see what Jillian Michaels has to say about Barack Obama and the Democrats' constant use of race, manipulation, and propaganda in American politics. Double tap hit the like button if you support the podcast. Feel free to leave a super chat, like, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter, or I think they call it X. The young people call it X now. All of those links are available in the description. Double tap hit the like button. Let's go, Jillian.
You know what I find so funny is that Obama, who shamed all of the black men for not voting for Harris, then went to frickin' Virginia and campaigned against the black woman who's a Marine, a small business owner, I think has 2 master's degrees, was the lieutenant governor for a white liberal who works for the CIA. I mean, I don't think either party is perfect, but the fact that the left just thinks they have the absolute moral authority on racial matters is staggering to me. Absolutely mind-blowing. You know what I find so funny is that Obama, who shamed all of the black men for not voting for Harris, then went to frickin' Virginia and campaigned against the black woman who's a Marine, a small business owner, I think has 2 master's degrees, was the lieutenant governor for a white liberal who works for the CIA. I mean, I don't think either party is perfect, but the fact that the left just thinks they have the absolute moral authority on racial matters is staggering to me. Absolutely mind-blowing. You know what I find so funny is that
just in case, I don't know if y'all knew about that story, but Barack Obama endorses Spam Burger over the black woman who was here it is. There it is. You see that? There's Spam Burger. She worked for the CIA, deep state, white woman. Now, when Spam Burger got elected, so far she's been on the socialist, democratic communist. Spam Burger has already changed the electoral voting process of Virginia. She hasn't been governor for over 6 months. This is not her second term. Spam Burger has instituted over 100 new taxes, costing Virginians over $9,000 a year. Dog walking taxes, dog leash taxes, going to the gym taxes, just like Zerani Mondani the Morani. So what did you get for voting for Spam Burger? Barack Obama backed her after he said you should vote for Kamala because she's black. So Barack Obama said he did not black. She was the lieutenant governor. This black woman has a master's degree. She has experience, lieutenant governor. If Barack Obama would have supported her, she would have won. Instead, Barack Obama supports a deep state from the CIA who's already changing the electoral college votes of Virginia, and she's only been there 6 months. Yeah, that's it. There you go. They're going to King of Wakanda right there. They're going to King of Wakanda. Obama endorses Spam Burger. Yeah, don't forget about it. Obama endorsed Spam Burger. Who told you first? Perfect Timing Podcast. I told you. Obama endorsed Spam Burger. But he's the king of Wakanda.
And then it also helps at times. Like sometimes when your child is bored, if you're on an airplane or something like
that, ain't the right story. That ain't the right story. Wakanda, the black mama. Wakanda, Obama, the black mama. I think that's a great story, don't you think? I think that's a great story. That segues us into the celebration of the birthday. Let's do the birthday celebration. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Trump turns 80 years old with Flag Day, UFC on the White House lawn. The claw viral video, someone calls Michelle Obama a bad name. I got a vote in the poll. Y'all could talk about the vote in the poll. Did you watch? Put a 1 in the chat if you watched. A lot of people are complaining. I don't know why they're complaining about the all of the great things Trump has done in Washington, fixing the reflecting pool, fixing Abraham Lincoln. I mean, the Democrats, I would love if the Democrats had something to celebrate versus complain. Democrats, go get something to celebrate, right? Go get something to celebrate. Go get some policy, in the hood, we say, go get you some business. You know what I'm saying? Go get you some business, right? The Democrats need to go get them some business, man. You know what I'm saying? When all y'all got to do is just hate. That's all you got. Is hate. What's going on? Let me see. Let me take care of some stuff right here. Let's take care of some stuff right here. Let's take care of some. I'm happy that we got a deal. I'm happy that the gas is going down. But I'm happy that the gas is going down. We're not paying nothing. I'm happy that we got a deal. I'm happy that the gas is going down. But if you ask me, and I think Trump is feels the same as me, I say keep that bitch closed. Can I get that in the chat? Keep that bitch closed. If you asking me, I would keep the Straits of Hormuz closed. And I would keep us there. Trump definitely has a plan. I would keep the Straits of Hormuz closed, and I would keep us there. I love the Straits of Hormuz being closed has worked in our favor. We're making billions of dollars in Venezuela off of Venezuelan oil. Cuba has been shut down because of the embargo. And because of the Straits of Hormuz being closed, America petrodollar resurgence, it becomes a commodity. The dollar is working very differently now. The whole world has to buy oil from us. We became the #1 oil supplier. There's nothing but upside. There's nothing but upside for us. So I've always liked the idea behind the Straits of Hormuz staying closed. What was happening, and this is why they're going to be a deal, and this is why I believe those 3 aircraft carriers should stay there. And like J.D. Vance just said, there's still a potential of ground troops. I hope you guys were listening today instead of just play hating. J.D. Vance said and J.D. Vance will be the next president. There is a strong potential of ground troops, and I still believe Karg Island is still in play. How many people in the chat really been following the news and understand? I believe Karg Island is still in play, and ground troops are definitely on the table because we have dedicated the fact that we will go get all of the uranium and all of the centrifuges. There's only one way to do that, and that's with ground troops. So what was happening with the closure of the Straits of Hormuz is I like to compare it to Cuba. So what was happening in Cuba? And I've shown the video a lot of times in Cuba. So Cuba has been shut down since January, right? When we went to Venezuela, when we captured Maduro and we took the oil in Venezuela, we stopped oil going to Cuba, and we put out threats of tariffs if anybody like Iran or Russia or Mexico helped Cuba. So Cuba has been starving and withering on the vine. Cuba has a backlog of 96,000. Hospitals are shut down. Pregnant women have issues having children. Mortality rates are skyrocketing in Cuba because women are being unalived in pregnancy because they don't have medication. They don't have epidurals. They don't have refrigerators to keep certain medications cold, so the medications go bad. They're not getting new supplies so they're running out of medications. So hospitals are closed. There's 11,000 backlog of children who need surgery. Mortality rates are skyrocketing in Cuba. I have argued on my channel the same thing is happening in Iran because of the blockade. What you guys didn't realize is everybody who says Iran this is winning, and what you guys don't understand is there's no way that Iran is winning. Iran is dying. Iran is withering on the vine. This goes back to the 12-day war over a year ago. This goes back to all the protests and them unaliving 42,000 of their own people. Without Venezuela, Iran began to suffer. Iran made money from the black market deals with Venezuela. We shut that down. A lot of people hurt when we shut down Venezuela. Iran was one of them. When we shut down the Straits of Hormuz, we basically crippled Iran. But what is not talked about is there were 2,000 ships in the Gulf. And when we shut down the Straits of Hormuz, their blockade effectively did the same thing to Iran as what we were doing to Cuba on purpose. Iran was no longer able to get in wheat from Russia. 80% of Iran's wheat comes from Russia. They're not able to grow. This is the demographic problem that a lot of the world is facing. Russia faces this problem. China faces this problem. The other world leaders do not have the ability to create enough food, oil, gas for themselves. America is the only one that is independent and secure. We create enough food, we create enough oil. Everyone else has to trade. So when we shut down the Straits of Hormuz, we blew them up and we killed the Ayatollah Khomeini, we destroyed their infrastructure, we destroyed the Navy, we destroyed the Air Force. Iran had an inability to get in supplies, i.e. wheat from Russia, which supplied 80% of their wheat. Also, America destroyed the plants that turn the wheat into flour because they're Muslim and halal. They process their own wheat in a halal process. Those plants were shut down. So they can't get wheat from Russia, and they could not process the wheat that they had into flour. They ran out of flour. Bakery shut down. They began to starve. This has been going on for months in Iran, the same thing in Cuba. So what I reported and what I did my research, I went to the CIA, I went to the government. The CIA has done a threat assessment, just like me. The CIA says Iran had about 3 more months worth of food. This ain't about bombs. Everybody is just not listening and not doing the research, but that's why you watch my show. That's why I say hit the like, hit the donate, hit the subscribe. Iran had 3 more months of food, but it's beyond food. It's beyond the wheat. It's beyond the flour. It's the supplies. It's the broken down supply chain in 2,000 tankers sitting in the Gulf, rotting supplies, rotting food, rotting bandages, insulin, all of the antibiotics. Nothing was getting to Iran in the same fashion as Cuba. So Iran had 3 months. Are you listening? They had 3 months by all assessments before they ended up like Cuba, and hospitals begin to close. And it becomes an international issue where children and women start dying. 3 months in Iran. We don't have to send no bombs to Iran. Do you guys understand? If we keep the Straits of Hormuz closed, the same thing, but people are not knowing what's going on in Cuba. I know, because I'm the one who's doing the news and the reporting. People don't know what's going on in Cuba. People don't know that Cuba is dying and starving. I say the same thing. It was on the horizon for Iran. And I don't know, is it mean? Because I said, let it play out. I was willing to pay the high gas prices, and I said, let it ride to December. We still would have 27. We would still have 27 and 28 to campaign and win the presidential election in 28. We may have had an issue in 26 midterms, but I always argue, let the shit ride out to December. Trump never was going to let it ride out past the November midterms. I said, let this Iran shit ride out to December and watch them starve. And then watch them make a deal. But people listen to too much propaganda. They don't really know and understand geopolitics. They don't know what was going on in Iran before February 28th. If this is the thing to understand that a lot of people don't understand, these realities about the supplies in Iran and Cuba did not begin on February 28th. This is what I love to educate people. February 28th was the day we invaded Iran, but you have to go back to the 12-day war almost a year ago when Trump dropped 2 of the largest bombs underneath a nuclear bomb on Iran, which kicked off protests that lasted a year long, where Iran unalived 42,000 of its own people. What I am talking about did not start on February 28th. Iran's issues with food, Iran's issues with inflation started well before February 28th. They already have been dealing with food lines and inflation to the point where Iran had to create a state loaf. How much of this do you guys know? How much of this do you guys know? This did not start February 28th. Going back to the 12-day war, they've had supply chain issues and inflation of to 400%, 140% inflation on bread. Rich people can't afford bread. But what I am reporting to you, after February 28th, they couldn't even make bread. Before February 28th, they had inflation. I have friends who came from Iran. They've dealt with this mega inflation before. This is why they Shah and Ayatollah Khomeini won the first time, because of the mega inflation. Iran knows about this mega inflation. So before February 28th, when we invaded Iran, they already had state loaf. How many people know about the Iranian state loaf? The Iranian state loaf existed because there were so many people who were not able to purchase bread and they were starving. So the Iranian government created their own government state loaf of bread that people had to wait in line for. What I'm telling you is that ever since February 28th, they have run out of the state loaf. There is no more state loaf. There is no more wheat. Bakeries have closed. So soldiers, when Scott Bessick told you Iranian soldiers are not getting paid, it's deeper. Iranian soldiers are not getting paid, so Iranian soldiers' wives and children go hungry. Iranian soldiers and children's wives go hungry. This is breaking of the social contract. This is a breaking down of the Iranian culture and the social contract. When an IRGC soldier can't feed his wife and his wife is starving, this is what's breaking down. This is what they don't tell you about. You're not listening when Scott Bessick says Iranian soldiers are not getting paid. I'm giving you the background behind, and you guys probably have heard of the mega inflation. You guys have heard of the state loaf, but that was compounded on February 28th when we started our bombing campaign. There is no more bread, and then we stopped and we blocked the Straits of Hormuz so they can't get in supplies. Same thing in Cuba. So if you ask me, I say close it. I say let it close. I say let it close. I say let it close. Let the Straits of Hormuz remain closed. Let the Straits of Hormuz remain closed. It revitalized the American dollar. The petrodollar is resurging. The American dollar was dead. The UAE needed a swap line. Countries were moving toward digital currency. They didn't even have American dollars. Before we shut down the Straits of Hormuz, before the UAE left OPEC, people are not understanding. When you say, what did we get? What did we get? The UAE left OPEC. We weakened OPEC. If we only got that, if you may be too young to understand what OPEC is an illegal oil cartel. Just the fact that the UAE left OPEC is a win for you. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or not. Just if you're asking about what are the benefits, what are the wins for America, OPEC is an illegal price fixing cartel. The UAE left OPEC. It was restrained by OPEC in how much million oil per barrel it could produce. Now that it is left OPEC, it is free to produce more barrels on the market, which lowers prices for you, America First, MAGA, America First, MAGA. If you just understood just that, if you're asking about Iran, if you just understood that, that's enough. But if you just understood that, it would mean so much that OPEC is weakened and the UAE left OPEC, an illegal oil price fixing cartel. If you understood that, that would be enough of a reason for us to go there. That would be enough of a reason for us to go there. If you understood that the UAE needed a swap line, if you understood what it meant for the American dollar, of the UAE not only leaving OPEC, but then needed a swap line because everybody had to buy oil from us. If you want to ball keys, if you want to stack G's, you got to buy dope from us. We were the only dope store on the block. The UAE not only left OPEC, but required a swap line because you got to buy dope from us. It changed the dollar. The dollar is backed by oil now. America is strong. The MAGA dollar is strong. The petrodollar is strong. Fuck Iran. Keep the Straits of Hormuz closed. Fuck Iran. Keep the... Wait, I'll go further. Fuck Israel. Fuck France. Fuck Europe. Fuck them all. America first. I don't give a fuck. We have benefited greatly from the Straits of Hormuz being closed. No one gets it. I get it. I get it. Fuck them all. Fuck them all. They can buy oil from us. They've been buying oil from us. Keep it closed. Fuck them all. You got to buy oil from us. You got to buy oil from us. And what does that do for the dollar, dum-dums? What does that do for the dollar, dum-dums? Yeah. This fool gonna say we had the JPCOA. I keep warning people, don't make a comment, but all of these people who have these comments are like premature ejaculators. I know your wife does not orgasm. If you even have sex, your wife does not orgasm because you are, Ryan, a premature ejaculator, a micro penis premature ejaculator. If you just listen for more than 5 seconds, you would know we've debunked this and we've broken this down. I've humiliated Barack Obama not only in my poll, but in my reporting today. But you are a premature ejaculator. Premature ejaculator. Y'all want me to help the premature ejaculator? Let me help this premature ejaculator, micro penis, premature ejaculator. All you had to do was ask a question. This is what I do here. All you had to do was ask. All you had to do was ask premature ejaculator, micro penis Ryan. If you wanted to know about the differences between the deal, the JPCOA and the Trump deal, I would bring it up because on my channel, I actually read and do research. So this is a table I created for my audience to educate them so they don't sound like you. But you wouldn't sound like a premature ejaculating micropenis idiot if you just had listened or asked a question. And I would just bring up this research. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful research. Here are the core tenements and the core comparison of a table I uniquely created that you will only see on my podcast. You know what's so great about this premature ejaculator is he allows me to show my IP. This is an original table that I created with my genius that you will only see on my podcast. You've never seen it anywhere else, and you won't see it anywhere else. Premature ejaculator. So here you go. The Obama administration core comparison for the premature micropenis ejaculator, JCPOA, the type of agreement was a multilateral agreement. It included U.S., Iran, China. So China had a say-so. Russia had a say-so. UK, Starmer, and Macron, and Germany, all these people could call the U.S. and say, well, we don't like this and we want to make these changes. So it wasn't just an agreement between the U.S. It was an agreement with all of these people, and all of these people turned their backs on us. But today, premature ejaculator, the deal that Trump is putting forward is known as a bilateral deal. It's a direct negotiation. Can you read premature ejaculator? You may not be able to read micropenis. So bilateral direct negotiation led by the U.S. and direct talks with Iran. This benefits America greatly, right? Because we don't have Macron or Starmer in our ear bitching about the details of the peace agreement and what we want. America first, America first, America first. Are you listening? Are you still there? You may have left. You may be embarrassed. I mean to embarrass you. The nuclear enrichment. This is the crux of the difference between the Obama deal and the Trump deal. Everybody watching, everybody, help him out in the chat, you guys. He may not be intelligent enough to read. He may only want video. Some people only like video. They don't like reading. But this is what I do here. I'm from a different generation. My generation reads. He may not like to read. Help interpretate for him in the chat, please. These are core comparisons of Obama's agreement and Trump's agreement today. Obama's agreement allowed a low-level uranium enrichment up to 3.67% strictly for civilian purposes. Sounds okay, right? Sounds cool, right? We have a big heart. We love people. Americans have a big heart, right? Sounds cool, right? No big deal. They need energy, right? We love people, right? Americans, Biden opened the border because Americans have a big heart, right? Yeah, let Venezuelan criminals into America. Americans love everybody, right? So it makes sense Americans would want Iranian people and women and children to have energy, right? The problem with Obama's agreement is that the process, the technology, and the equipment required to enrich uranium to this percent can also be used to create a nuclear weapon. Let me say that again for all of the people in the back. The problem with Obama's agreement is that the technology, the equipment, and the machinery to enrich uranium to this level can also be used to create a nuclear weapon, which is what they were doing, and Trump was not lying. Which is what they were doing, and Trump was not lying. So in today's deal, what Trump is saying in today's deal, which is very different from Obama's deal, No, what I am saying, dum-dum, is that the equipment, if you read, dum-dum, you're doing it again. You're premature ejaculating again, dum-dum. You're premature this guy really, your wife does not orgasm. You're premature ejaculating again. Just read it with me, bro. Slow down. It'll help you in bed. It'll help you in life. Micro penis? Look. Aimed for zero enrichment and demanded the dismantling of Iran's nuclear centrifuge infrastructure. This is just a number, brother. They have the equipment and the technology to get to 90% under Obama's agreement. Are we together with this? I'm not saying that they did it. I don't even want to argue with you on whether or not they did it. I'm just saying, I hope you get this. It's not that complicated. The TDS is flowing in the chat right now, you guys. Help them out. The TDS is flowing. What the argument is, ladies and gentlemen, is that if they can get to this, they can get to 90%, brother, with the equipment required to get to 3.6. Are we together now, brother? I'm not saying that they did it, brother. I'm saying that the equipment and technology necessary to get them to this level of uranium can also get them to the levels in which you put in the chat, brother. That's come on, bro. So what Trump is saying is not only does he want zero enrichment, but he wants to take away the equipment and the technology, software, prowess, capabilities that Obama allowed them to have. Because if we allow them this technology, hello, can you please, brother, I know you hate Trump, but this is not even about Trump, brother. It's about your safety. If we allow them the technology to do this, they can do that. Bro, it's math, bro. It's math, bro. Are you mad that we had this research here ready for you? It seems like the Democrats are mad when we do our homework, you guys. Are you mad that we were ready for your question? I mean, for real, bro. Are you mad that we were ready? Are you mad that we did a core comparison? Are you mad that we're readers? Are you mad that we research data? Come on, tell me. I would love to know. Are you mad that I was prepared? Are you mad that I had done the research? Are you mad that I actually know the core comparisons between the two agreements? Brother, I get frustrated too because most people don't even know what the Obama deal was. You know what I educated people today, brother? You know what I educated people today? You might like this. You might find this funny. Since you even know what the deal, because I debate people on Twitter all the time. Brother, they don't even know the JCPOA. They don't even know. I say, what's the deal Obama had? And they can't even say JCPOA. So I'm going to give you your props for even knowing the deal, even though you don't know the nuances and the details. It's not your fault because the deal just came out today. You should know the Obama deal because you're hyping it up. Hype me up. But guess what I shared with my chat today? Because you're new here and you're a premature ejaculating micropenis, so you won't be here long. But as long as you're here, I'll share something with you that I shared with my chat today you might find interesting. One of the things I share with my chat today is that the consistencies between the Trump presidency and the Biden presidency. One of them being the sanctions on Iran and no longer going into the JPCOA. I'm sure you know that Trump got us out of the Paris Climate Accords. Trump got us out of the JPCOA and instituted sanctions on Iran. And I'm sure you know that when Biden became president, he had an opportunity in Vienna to get back into the JPCOA and chose not to, or move slowly. Some people say he moved slowly. I say he did it purposely. But the reason I say he did it purposely is because he kept Trump sanctions. A lot of the things that doesn't get talked about is not only did Joe Biden did not go back to Obama's deal. Can we just, again, these are just baselines. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Trump. I'm just laying baselines, brother. Joe Biden did not go back to Obama's deal. You can be honest about that, right? One of the things that people don't be honest about is that Joe Biden kept the sanctions on Iran in the Straits of Hormuz. Trump's sanctions. So one of the things I educated my chat on today is that the consistencies between Trump and Biden. Trump put sanctions on, in case you didn't know, Trump put sanctions on Venezuela. Biden kept those sanctions, and Trump put a bounty on Maduro's head. Biden doubled the bounty. Trump put $5 million on Maduro. Biden doubled it to $10 million. Biden even spoke with the person who won the election. Biden spoke, Maduro, there was an election in Venezuela. They elected a president. Maduro put him in jail. Biden spoke with him on the phone days before Trump took office. Days before Trump took office, Biden spoke with the duly elected president, said, and called Maduro a dictator. These are things I educated my chat today. Consistencies between Trump and Biden. Trump said Maduro was a dictator, $5 million bounty. Biden doubled down, called Maduro a dictator, $10 million bounty. So Biden consistent with Trump on Venezuela. Biden consistent with Trump on Iran sanctions, and he did not go back into the JPCOA. So, brother, when you say we had the JPCOA, what do you mean? Because you just had the presidency 15 months ago. See, I think you're mad because I'm smart. I think you're mad because I have more information than you. Everybody listen to what I'm saying. He said we had the JPCOA. When? See how I'm so good at this debating thing? You see how a lot of people don't have the knowledge. When he says we had the JPCOA, who is we? You mean Obama. You don't mean Biden, which you had an opportunity, but Biden said no. And you just had the White House. Remember, see, this is what they don't like about people with facts. The Democrats just was president. What, it was 15 months ago? Right? So why didn't we have the JPCOA? Because we did not have it under Biden, brother. See how you jump over facts, you jump over history, you jump over years to make a comment. That's why I call you a premature ejaculator and a micro penis, because you jump over so many facts. This is what TDS is. And now people in the chat are laughing at you because they're saying, holy shit, he's right. That deal was Obama's deal. Biden could have had it. So what does he mean we had the JPCOA? Holy shit. He's right. Yeah, I'm right. You're wrong. Biden could have had it. So don't blame Trump. Don't say we had the JP, because we didn't. We haven't had it for almost several years. Damn, I'm good at this shit. We haven't had the JPCOA for almost 6-7 years because Joe Biden did not get us back in. So consistent with Trump on Venezuela, consistent with Trump on Iran and the JPCOA. Also, you know what else I educated my chat on today? Consistent with Trump on taxes. How do we get the big, beautiful bill? Eric Jordan in the building. Eric Jordan in the building with the $2 super chat. Trump standing on business on art of the deal. So shout out to the troll. Shout out to the guy who came in with the ignorant comment. I just had to get him. So that was 3 things I share in my chat today of the successes of Donald Trump and the consistencies between Trump and Biden. Donald Trump and Biden were consistent across the board, not only on Venezuela, not only Iran, but the Trump tax cuts. The big, beautiful bill are basically the Trump tax cuts from the first administration. What's never talked about with the big, beautiful bill is that Biden kept those tax cuts going through the entire 4 years he was president, which allowed Donald Trump to pass the big, beautiful bill so quickly, which allowed him to pass the big, beautiful bill so quickly. So I just love educating people. I love educating people. Man, somebody said, give me your address. In the description, you can find my Instagram, and you can find my X, and you can find my YouTube. Somebody said I subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Fellow tube, shout out to you. It's always been about the oil and resources for our data centers. Yes, they don't want to talk about the dirty data centers. They don't want to talk about Davos. Who is this? This is Sacred Jade. Jade, I'll be talking about Davos. Not only the Munich Security Council. So I covered Davos live, and I covered the Munich Security Council. So when I talk about Iran, and I knew that we were going to Iran, I knew about Iran invasion because I've been watching geopolitics. It's what I do. It's my job. I love history. I love America. I love America first. So when you say this, it makes me think about my Davos coverage, my Munich coverage, not only this year, but going back when Kamala Harris was at the Munich Security Council. But this year at Davos, you had Elon Musk, who is now the richest man in the world, a trillionaire. And then you had the CEO of BlackRock, like the biggest corporation in the world. And what were they talking about? They said, let's talk about a global blockchain. And I was like, whoa, whoa. And I keep bringing it up. I keep bringing it up. And I only bring it up because you brought up the dirty data centers. Because I think, like, we so distracted by the Democrats who wants us to focus on racism. It's crazy. When the trillionaire, the first trillionaire, and BlackRock are sitting across from each other, you know they had to know that Elon was going to be a trillionaire. They didn't even tell us because they knew SpaceX would go public. They knew Elon would be a trillionaire. So at Davos, they're saying, let's talk about a global blockchain. Now, if it's just me and you, Sacred Jade, if it's just me and you and we smoking a blunt and we talking about flat earth and we talking about it, it don't really fucking matter, right? Sacred Jade, if it's just me and you and we smoking and we saying flat earth and we talking about the mark of the beast and all of that good, you know, that good conspiracy shit. If it's just me and you and we having a conversation on YouTube about flat earth, and no one cares. But bro, I thought people would care when Elon Musk and the CEO of BlackRock start talking about a global blockchain. I thought people would get worried. I thought people would wonder. I thought no one gave a fuck, bro. So I just want to congratulate my chat today. My chat has been on top of it. Yes, we've had some dummies come in. And I roasted their ass. Yeah, I roasted their bitch ass. We had some dummies come in and I roasted their bitch ass. But we have intelligent people who may not, Sacred J may not even agree with me or Trump or MAGA. But I'm just saying there's some intelligent people in the chat. You don't have to be an idiot. You could do some reading just like us. And you can say a comment that sparks conversation. Sacred Jade said a comment that sparked me to a conversation about the global blockchain and what I learned by listening and doing my research for this show. But Jade, they don't even know about the dirty data centers. They don't know about Elon Musk being a trillionaire. They don't think it's important that Sacred J said, I'm worried. He's a trillionaire now. He's a trillionaire. Maybe now people will give a fuck. Maybe now people will give a fuck that a trillionaire wants to do a global blockchain and we haven't solved the dirty data center. No one talks about the bottle of water that it takes to do AI. No one talks about how much energy it takes for the blockchain and digital currency to do the calculations. No one talks about it. The towers, the five, no one, no. Because whether Michelle Obama is this or that is more salacious. Dirty data centers, 5G, global blockchain, Hunger Games. You will have nothing and you, yeah, they don't want to talk about that, Jay. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Michelle Obama. They want to talk about Michelle Obama. But I love you, Sacred J, for even bringing up the data. And then Sacred J didn't even say dirty data centers. She didn't even pick a side. I don't even know if it's a she, but Sacred J just said data center. If you know about the dirty data centers, if you even think it's a thing to worry about, a trillionaire with one fucking blockchain, one digital currency. Holy shit. Haven't we seen that movie? I mean, this is where I say partisan shit is going to go out the window soon. Haven't we seen that movie, bro? Bro, I love movies. You see where you at. You in the Perfect Summer podcast studio. Look at all of my shit. Look at my collection. Look at my collection. Look at my wall behind me. Look at my collection, bro. I love movies, bro. Haven't we seen that movie, bro? One digital currency, one global blockchain, one trillionaire. Haven't we seen that movie, bro? But let's talk about Michelle Obama. Let's talk about Michelle Obama. Who are these guys to even be at Davos? BlackRock shouldn't exist the way it exists, right? Elon shouldn't exist the way it exists. But here we go. We got two things, two behemoths that should not exist. Elon and BlackRock. Two white men with this global power sitting down at a meeting in Davos, and the CEO of BlackRock says, man, fuck all that. Did y'all see it? He said, I don't want to talk about any of the shit that was talked about. Elon laughs. He said, fuck all that. I want to talk about, and he says, not to say that it will ever happen. Man, fuck you. How many people know what's going on with digital currency behind the Iran war? Some of the changes in the policy, some of the changes in the legislation. How many people really know what's going on with digital currency behind the Iran war? The CEO of BlackRock says to the new trillionaire, man, I don't want to talk about that shit. Let's talk about a global blockchain. He doesn't even say, see, when you talk about, most of the time people say crypto, people say Bitcoin. To say crypto or Bitcoin is to show a naivete about the issue. Please listen to the terminology I'm using. They didn't talk about crypto. They didn't talk about Bitcoin. Fuck your investments. Fuck your goals and dreams of getting rich. Elon is a trillionaire. Sit the fuck down. You're going to be poor forever. Stop fucking telling people to buy Bitcoin and crypto. Shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down. I know you think you should, crypto. Sit the fuck down. They didn't say crypto. I am purposely. They didn't say crypto. They didn't say Bitcoin. The two most powerful, richest motherfuckers in the world, two white men, a fucking trillionaire, and the CEO of BlackRock. And the CEO of BlackRock said, man, fuck all that. I want to talk about one global blockchain. Can we do it? I'm not saying it's a good idea or a bad idea. This is what he's saying to Elon Musk. This is what he's saying to Elon Musk. I want to talk about a global blockchain. Do you understand Web 3.0? Do you understand the blockchain? It's software. It's a new future. This is why the precious minerals are important. This is why Venezuela is important. This is why Taiwan is important. This is why we're in Iran. This is why we're in Iran. This is why we're in Iran. Precious minerals, semiconductors, quantum computing, AI. Y'all don't know what the man. Come, I'm gonna be done. 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 Because they want to talk about Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama. I don't care. I'm not fucking her. You're not fucking her. But man, thank you, Sacred Jade. Because they don't want to talk about, I don't hear no one ever talking about that conversation between the Davos, the CEO of BlackRock, and Elon Musk, who is now a trillionaire, in their designs on a global blockchain. Nothing about your cryptocurrency investment. I know I hurt some people's feelings. They thought they was going to get rich off crypto. I know I hurt some people feelings. They thought they was gonna get rich off crypto. They thought they was gonna get rich off crypto. Oh, now Elon is a trillionaire. Oh my God. It is not from crypto. An IPO. An IPO. What do cryptocurrencies want? They do. What do coins do? An IPO. All these people who don't know about economics and money try to give you advice on digital. Hey, buy this, buy that, buy crypto. And Elon Musk becomes a billionaire with an IPO. Not Doge. A trillionaire, I'm sorry. Elon Musk becomes a trillionaire off an IPO, not Doge. Not digital, not crypto. How you like that? How you like me now? Trump turns 80 years old, born in 1946. Trump becomes the second. Let me get a banner up. Let me get a banner up to say happy birthday, Trump. Let me get a banner up. You're going to say happy birthday, Trump. Happy B-Day, Trump. Happy B-Day, Trump. Let's get into it real quick. Celebrate the president, greatest president of your lifetime. You've only seen a lame duck. President Trump is the first secretary president you ever seen that's not a lame duck. Born in 1946, Trump becomes the second straight octogenarian president after Biden, sharing in recent interviews that he's not happy about the age but feels vigorous. The White House hosted Freedom 250, a UFC card with 4,000 fans and a lightweight title bout inside temporary octagon called The Claw. Despite the thunderstorm forecast, supporters like Pete Hegseth, Benjamin Netanyahu, and influencers praised his high energy and leadership, while critics, including Democrats, mock the occasion, and polls show his approval at 39% with a negative net rating. Happy birthday, Donald Trump. Happy birthday to the president, man. Happy birthday to the president. Let me get a happy birthday in the chat, man. Let's get a happy birthday in the chat, man. I got my USA on today. Let's get a happy birthday, President Trump, in the chat. Get the likes up, man. Get the likes up, man. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, President Trump, man. Happy birthday, President Trump. Let's keep going. What else we got here? So we got some footage. We got some footage? This is AI. Happy birthday, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Secretary of War put out a video celebrating the president's birthday. Let's take a look, man. Let's celebrate together, man. Double tap, hit the like button. Happy birthday, President Trump.
The 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I want to thank the President of the United States, our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. We could not have a better Commander-in-Chief than him. It is the honor of a lifetime to serve under you. We look forward to having the backs of our troops, having your back in executing peace through strength, in putting America first, and in rebuilding our military. The 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I want to thank the President of the United States, our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. We could not have a better Commander-in-Chief than him. It is the honor of a lifetime to serve under you. We look forward to having the backs of our troops, having your back in executing peace through strength, in putting America first, and in rebuilding our military.
Happy birthday, President Trump. Happy birthday, President Donald J. Trump. What a great show. What a great show. What a great show. We got the Michelle Obama 80th birthday discussion. I'm not gonna play that clip. I think it's in poor taste. Y'all can vote in the poll. I'm not gonna actually play the clip. You know, it's free speech, but I'm not gonna play it because I think it's in poor taste. Happy birthday, Trump.
For the president's 80th birthday. There are, of course, some critics of this. What do you say to them?
People are criticizing something Donald Trump decided to do. Wow, this is breaking news. Look, it's the president's birthday. It's Flag Day, and we're, of course, celebrating America's 250th birthday. And I think it's a pretty cool spectacle. And to have one of the biggest and rising sports entertainment industries in the world be part of it, for American culture, it's a pretty neat thing. And I don't, all week long, I've been listening to Democrats criticize a reflecting pool. They're criticizing having this UFC fight. I mean, virtually anything we're doing to do something cool in Washington, D.C., Democrats are against it because I guess they want to live in misery. But this is fun, and we should have fun.
For the president's 80th birthday. There are, of course, some critics of this. What do you say to them?
People are criticizing.
Butt hurt. Butt hurt. Butt hurt. What else we got? On that birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. We need some birthday festivities, y'all. Some good birthday festivities, man. Happy birthday, Donald Trump, man. What up? I think, man, I'm trying to think of something else, man. I'm trying to think of something else, man. But I think that's it, man. I think that's it, man. Straight up, man. I think that's it, man. Happy birthday to President Trump, man. Happy birthday to President Trump. It's been a great show today, man. It's been a great show today, man. What y'all got on the way out? Anybody got some closing statements? Anybody got some closing comments on the way out? Anybody got some closing statements, some closing comments on the way out? What you got for me? Man, I really like this jersey, man. I really like this jersey, man. Shout out to Team USA, man. You see this? This is that Umbro soccer jersey. I wanted me one. I see Nas. Nas was performing at the soccer. He had his little Emirates little soccer jersey. So I'm like, hold on, I got my soccer. I just got this bitch. I spoiled my shit because I do the Mega Monday. I've been ready to bust this bitch on Mega Monday. Boy, it's clean, boy. I've been waiting to bust this bitch on Mega Monday, man. Yeah. What I got on the way out, man? Crying won't help Democrats. I'm so excited. Cuomo's indicted. And I'm just so happy I can't even hide it. Yeah, I'm happy Cuomo is indicted. I hope they get Cuomo under questioning. I hope we get some answers because there's a lot to American people deserve to know about the Russia collusion, the Steele dossier, Anthony Weiner laptop, Hillary Clinton server. Oh, I want Cuomo on the stand so bad. I want Cuomo on the stand so bad. Because the Democrats, they forget. How soon you forget Donald Brazil cheating ass, Hillary Clinton server. Do you guys remember the Hillary Clinton server? I do. Do you guys remember Donald Brazil cheating? I do. Do you guys remember the Steele dossier? I do. Arctic Frost. Yeah. Cuomo, I'll see you on the stand, homie. 19 days until the 4th of July, we got to celebrate. I'm proud to be an American. And I love my president. I love America. And I love Democrats. I love you too. I know the Democrats want to burn up cities and beat up people with red hats. Republicans do not hate Democrats. I do not want a monarchy. I don't want to live in a monarchy. I believe in multiple opinions, difference of opinions. I do not believe we have a true Democratic Party right now. I believe it's been taken over by socialists and communists. Zohrani Mamdani has said he is a democratic socialist. I think that's unfortunate. In Minnesota, we saw people recruiting for the Socialist Party. I think that's the problem that we're having now. Yeah, Republicans, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt any Democrat. We can debate, we can argue. You come up with policy, I come up with policy. This is supposed to be the House. It's called the House. The Congress is called the House. One analogy I used to use, I haven't used in a long time, is when you're married, the father and the mother come together at the kitchen table. And the goal of the father and the mother coming together at the kitchen table, they may have differences of opinions, and that is by design. The men have a different charge. So when he has his issue is going to be different than the women who have a different charge. He has to protect, she has to nurture, but they have to agree. And the goal of the sit down at the kitchen table is not for dad to be right or for mom to be right. The goal is for the betterment of the house. My heart is a house for love, and I've learned that it don't take much to build it. My heart is a house for love, and I've learned that it don't take much to build it. So the same thing is true with the Congress. The Democrats and the Republicans, it's not about the Republicans being right. It's not about the Democrats being right. It's about the debate that both the Democrat and the Republican love America more than they love being Democrat or Republican, and they come together and they make a decision that's best for the house. They come together and make a decision that's best for the house. And it's the best because you have both sides. You have more than one. Dad is not coming in and saying, it's my way or the highway. Mom gets to put in input. The children get to put in input. And the goal is to make a decision that's the best for the house. That's why it's called the house. So I don't hate Democrats. I understand the framers. I understand the design, the checks and the balances. I wish somebody would start teaching the kids that not only in politics, but at home, don't just make a decision for you. A lot of women break up marriages. They want to have a hot girl summer, go get a BBL. They're not making a decision that's the best for the house. Come back tomorrow, man. 1 p.m. every day. Hit the like. Everybody right now, all 100 people hit the like button. Do me that favor right now. I know you guys can do it. It's free. Double tap the screen like this. Hit the like button if you're on the computer. If you're on the cell phone, just start hitting the cell phone. Just start hitting the cell phone. Everybody right now, hit the like button. It's free. You can hit the subscribe right now. It's free. Everybody right now, hit the like button. If you don't know how to do it on the cell phone, I always tell people on the top right-hand corner, there's 3 ellipses. Up here, there's 3. You hit those 3 dots. They're called an ellipsis, and they give you the choices to like the show and subscribe. Right there, a lot of people who watch me are 50, 60 years old. They don't know how to like this show. I tell you about, now you can tell your grandkids what an ellipsis is. Upper right-hand corner, those 3 dots. Hit those 3 dots. It will let you like or dislike the video. You see that? You can like or dislike the video, or you can double tap the screen, just like that. Double tap the screen, and you can like. It's free. It don't cost nothing. It's absolutely free. You can do this all day. It's fun. It's fun. Just do this all day. You can just play with it. So good, so good, so good. It feels so good, so much fun. Feel that. Good. I got it. Good. You know what I'm saying? Do that. Do that all day long. That's what I gotta do. Come back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Same bad time, same bad channel. I think I went live today like at 1:30. So hit the notification bell when you subscribe. Have a good night, everybody. I see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Same bad time, same bad channel. Happy birthday, Trump. God bless America. We out.